And a pleasant good morning, everybody. It is a beautiful morning on this Monday, the 21st of July. Welcome. My world. No, that sounds too much like Jesse Waters. We don't want to replicate him. Anyway, a pleasant good morning. It's Breakfast with Roger and Friends on WAZU FM 90.7 in wonderful Peoria, Illinois. Terry Chamberlain's here. Good morning, Terry.
Good morning.
And John Desharoon, all the way from Cuba. Cuba, that's what I thought, is here as well, sitting in for John Meisinger, who's on assignment, as they say in the broadcasting world. And Terry Growy, the well-known hypnotist, is here as well. Good morning to you. You were telling everybody in the studio, Terry, that there's a different color.
It is
in the sky.
You'd be surprised when you go outside. It's a different color today.
And I thought you were nuts until Terry said, "Oh yeah."
See, I have to get verification, or Roger doesn't believe it.
Yeah,
doggone thing I say.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't say doggone, but almost everything. Yeah, what is the color?
And you saw it too, right? It was just
John. You did too.
I don't know. It's pinkish, purple. No, it's not purple.
The color purple.
No, it's kind of a reddish, pinkish. Or mauve maybe. I don't know what color.
Slightly
it is.
burnt orange.
Yeah.
A burnt orange.
I don't know. The weather guy, Varnold, would probably know.
The weather guy, Varnold.
What causes that?
There might be
what does cause it? We've got some brilliant minds here. What do you think? Is there something ominous about to happen?
I don't know. I just thought I was having a stroke or something.
Sometimes when the weather, the color of the sky changes, it means storms or something bad weather-wise going to happen.
Well, it's going to be bad weather-wise.
Well, it's going to be hotter than Hades.
Oh, it's just hotter.
I'm surprised that today's high 89. They're saying the heat index 102. I thought you had to get into the 90s before you have a heat
Not
index.
in Central Illinois,
No.
Oh, okay.
No,
Well, I guess we are in
humidity.
Are you really in Central Illinois and Cuba, or are you Western?
Probably
more Western, aren't you?
Western.
How long a drive did you come by car or camel?
I came by car.
Car, okay. And it was a pretty good drive too, isn't it?
Yeah,
Really? Jeez.
That's what I was thinking.
You don't speed on the 24 speedway, you know.
No, I know. Is that why you take 24 rather than 116?
Mm-hmm.
I
don't like 2-lane roads. Ever since there's a lot of bad things have happened on
deer
2-lane roads. Deer for one thing, and people fussing on their cell phones. And I know when I have a car coming toward me, I always try to see if I can see the driver's head and whether it's up and down or down like they're sleeping or looking at their phone. Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably 10 or 15 minutes quicker to come in 24. But 24 has been under construction now for, I don't know, 4 or 5 years. I mean, it's supposed to be 4-lane all the way from Banner to Bartonville. So they extended the bridge at the bottom of the Banner Hill probably 4 years ago. And now there's construction cones from Banner all the way to Mapleton where they're doing this sectional repair.
Yeah.
I don't know why they're doing the sectional repair because they're going to widen it to 4 lanes anyway. But yeah, so you know, when you're out this early in the morning, you're just dodging the Caterpillar traffic going into Mapleton on first shift.
Yeah. Well, you know, there's quite a few factories over there. Use that other one if you would, John. And I wonder what the thinking was with all the companies that located there. I don't say it's good or bad. I was just wondering.
Well, if you look at it, it's Caterpillar primarily, and then the chemical plant. Both of them are voracious users of water, and it's located right on the Illinois River.
Mhm.
So you got an
They don't
aquifer
care
there.
about the quality of the water,
Well,
apparently.
no, well, for Caterpillar's perspective, we clean the water before we use it.
Good idea.
The water that we discharge back to the river is actually cleaner than when we
Mhm.
take out. So we're actually acting as a purifier for the Illinois River. And the chemical plant uses a lot of water as well, and there's an aquifer there, so you can tap into it without taking it directly out of the river, but you can discharge the clean or the
Mhm.
processed water back into the river.
As part of the filtering process, what do you do with the carp? No.
Well, usually you don't let them in the factory.
Yeah, okay.
You know.
Yeah. Well, you never know. There might be some guys that know how to prepare carp.
Yeah, but it's extremely typically what we're doing is taking cool water and using it to or river water or aquifer water and using it to cool the foundry processes, and then just exchanging molecules, warm water back into the river. But that it helps the fish and the wildlife.
We've come a long way about protecting the Illinois River because I can remember, I don't know if any of you are old enough to remember a company on North Adams on the north side of Peoria where I was raised. They had a company called Bemis Bag.
Bemis Bag.
Bemis Bag.
And in the wintertime, we always went down to the river and hung out. And my dad, whenever he caught me, would give me holy hell for doing it. He was scared to death of the river and the water, and for good reason. We lost a family on a boating accident, the Crandall family in the Illinois River by the Upper Free Bridge and later by the McCluggage Bridge. But anyway, in the wintertime, I don't know what that was, but it just cleaned out my ears. In the wintertime, we would go down there, and Bemis Bag was releasing all kinds of crud into the river, and the ice would be all around except where this crud was coming out of the building, and it was a white substance, but the fish were hanging out there. I don't know why, but they were, because we could see the carp, and I don't think we ever saw bass, to tell you the truth. I think they were too smart to hang around to it.
Was it winter?
But yes,
Was it, so it's warm water, so the fish are going.
that's correct. Yeah, and you can imagine how toxic it was, although it looked like it was milk.
Well, remember they used to run an ad back in the early '70s, and the tagline or the song in the background was "Pollution, pollution." You got smog and sewage and sludge, and it would show these discharges into the Illinois River from the north of the Silco building all the way down past where ADM is now, of literally raw industrial waste going into the river. And they finally cleaned that up outlawed it in the mid '70s after the EPA came in. But I remember watching that commercial and asking my dad, "Is that our river?" And he's like, "Yeah, that's
Yeah.
our river."
Yeah.
But every industrial complex along the river was able to freely dump until the EPA came in. What, '74 maybe?
Yeah.
Nixon administration.
Well, we didn't know back then. I mean, we didn't realize back then.
Well, I mean, you should have known.
Well, maybe. I
Yeah.
guess.
Well, wasn't that also a period of time when
Turned
Chicago
green.
was releasing their
Raw
sewage
sewage.
Yeah.
into the Illinois River? Because I caught a carp once and had toilet paper wrapped around his neck.
Gross.
That's terrible, Roger. That
Too
didn't happen.
early for that.
Yeah, too early to laugh, isn't it? Yeah. Well, let's do what we do every morning and bring you the most comprehensive news in Peoria radio, and we've got it. And let's start with a check of the weather brought to you by Spoon River Home Health. They've been around since 1993, providing home health care. Locally owned and operated, they're available 24/7. You can reach the folks at Spoon River at 309-245-0723. What's the weather like, Terry?
Well, I don't know. I don't want to say. It's going to be terrible. Extreme heat watch from midnight tonight until Thursday. Isn't this Monday? Oh, that's just depressing. Partly sunny today, slight chance for afternoon rain. High 85. Tonight, partly cloudy, possible showers, low 72. Tomorrow, sunny and hot. High near 90. Heat index about 102. Wednesday, sunny and very hot, high 94. Thursday, 95. Friday and Saturday, possible showers in both days. in the low 90s. Oh my goodness. We'll hear live from our meteorologist Kyle Varnold at 8:30 this morning. Right now it's only 71. It's kind of chilly out there.
I don't know what thermometer you've got, but
Well,
anyway, let's get into the news brought to you by your hometown community banks division of Morgan Community Bank. 46 wonderful locations in central Illinois to serve you. Look for the clock tower and you'll know they have time for you. Member FDIC.
There were a rash of shootings in Peoria over the weekend. One of those sent a 24-year-old man by car to our local hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. He reportedly was wounded near the intersection of Sterling and Forest Hill.
gunplay early Saturday resulted in a woman taking bullets to both feet in the area of Star and Westmoreland. A few hours later, another 24-year-old shooting victim arrived at the emergency room of OSF St. Francis Medical Center with a gunshot wound to the arm. No arrests have been made, but police did say that the ShotSpotter alerts recorded some 34 shots. For history buffs, that's more than the number fired at the infamous OK Corral in 1881 in Tombstone, Arizona.
Peoria Proud held its River City Pride Festival Saturday morning. Despite a rain, the festival went on as scheduled at the riverfront, celebrating the city's LGBTQ community.
And the 76th annual Heart of Illinois Fair also went on, though some who attended thought the event should have been canceled. No carnival and no people. The grounds at Expo Gardens were like a ghost town, with barns and exhibit buildings closed tighter than Fort Knox, with unhappy vendors outnumbered attendees. The Heart of Illinois Fair is now just a memory of what was once upon a time.
The folks in Chillicothe had a good time last week as they celebrated their Sweet Corn Festival. Unlike the Peoria Fair, lots of people enjoyed sweet corn and other good food, especially on Saturday.
Some good news on the national scene of officials in Caryville, Texas. That's the site of the deadly flood. Report only 3 people remain missing. At one time, there was 160 were counted as missing from Cary County alone. Sadly, about 135 lost their lives.
The Director of Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, has released some 100 pages of documents she says reveal secret plans by President Obama and members of his intelligence agencies to undermine the presidency of Donald Trump during the early days of his first term. The former Democrat says the evidence is overwhelming and are nothing short of historic. Gabbard said Obama engaged in a conspiracy days before he was to leave office in what was termed Russian collusion. After 4 years of investigations, it's now known as the Russian hoax.
An off-duty officer with the U.S. Customs and Border Protection Agency was shot in the face by an illegal immigrant during an attempted armed robbery in New York City. Though wounded, the 42-year-old officer shot his attacker, who was arrested. Court documents show the criminal immigrant had been released 4 times by judges despite deportation orders. Police are searching for his accomplice, apparently, so a judge can release him as well.
The controversial mayor of Los Angeles, Karen Bass, says the city will be unable to rebuild after the wildfires she failed to prevent without immigrants. Bass said her city is a city of immigrants, and without them, work will be difficult. Little has been done since the January fires.
Let's close with a heartwarming story this morning. A young teenage girl in Grapevine, Texas, was complaining of a numb leg, fatigue, and dizziness. Her 18-year-old boyfriend insisted she go to the hospital and called for an ambulance. Turns out it was a wise decision. Haiti Rangel was showing symptoms of a stroke. ER doctors were able to take quick action, preventing major medical consequences and even death. And Roger, that's the news.
Yeah, that's a great story. Not many 18-year-olds would think. But, I think we're doing a better job educating, particularly about health issues for our young people in our schools. I don't think we teach health anymore, do we?
No.
Don't know.
No, I don't think we can teach that. We can teach other things.
Yes,
Can't
teach
that now.
exactly right. How to be woke. At any rate, this portion of our program brought to you, as mentioned, Kyle Varnold, Mr. Weather. He is with Fortner Insurance. Kyle, an insurance professional. He can review your portfolio of coverage for home, auto, life, and health. Kyle Varnold does that at no obligation on your part, and he does it to help you protect your world tomorrow. And Kyle's phone number 6820519. Sitting in for John Meisinger, ladies and gentlemen, John Disharoon. Good morning, Johnny.
Good morning, everybody. I hope to do Meisinger proud here this morning. But there wasn't a lot going on this weekend other than Scotty Scheffler and the Cubs and the Cards both dropping a couple of games. William Abreu homered twice and drove in 3 runs, and the Boston Red Sox beat the Chicago Cubs 6-1 yesterday to avoid a series sweep. Alex Bregman also connected as Boston rallied after managing just 1 run in its first 2 games with Chicago after the All-Star break. Garrett Crochet pitched 6 effective innings in his 4th consecutive win. Down in Phoenix, Eugenio Suarez homered twice for the 2nd consecutive day, and Merrill Kelly allowed 2 runs in 6 innings to help the Arizona Diamondbacks beat the St. Louis Cardinals 5-3. Suarez has 6 multi-homer games this season, including a 4-homer game on April 26, and leads the majors with 20 home runs since June 1. He launched a 3-run drive off starter Miles Mikolas in the first inning and a solo shot in the 3rd. And then the other NL game of local interest out in L.A., Abner Uribe retired Mookie Betts with the bases loaded for the final out. The Milwaukee Brewers beat the Los Angeles Dodgers 6-5 on Sunday for their 10th straight victory. So Milwaukee and Chicago now at the top of the
Almost
series.
even.
They are even.
Yeah.
They're a few games ahead of everybody else, but it's going to be a battle in the major leagues. Ohtani hit a 2-run homer for the Dodgers, but Isaac Collins snapped a 6th inning tie with a 2-run single as the Brewers finished 6-0 this season against the defending World Series champions. See, anybody can beat LA if you try hard enough. They extended their longest winning streak since 2021 by sweeping the National League West leaders for the 2nd time in 2 weeks. And then over in Northern Ireland, Scotty Scheffler. He may not find his life's true fulfillment in winning, but that's not going to keep him from continuing to do it on sports' biggest stages. Scheffler had all-time in the world to celebrate his latest major title, carding a 68 on Sunday to cruise to a 4-stroke victory in the Open Championship at Royal Portrush. The outcome was never in doubt Sunday as golf's #1 player finished at 17 under 267, delivering yet another dominant performance to win his 2nd major this year and grab the 3rd leg of the career Grand Slam. Scotty Scheffler is playing.
He's a real thing.
golf.
I have a question for you. There was a guy, an unknown, relatively speaking, golfer who led after the first day. Do you remember who he was and where he wound up finishing?
You know, I'm lazy. I only watch the finals.
I was the same way. Yeah, right. He was a young guy, and we all, shook our heads and said, I wonder where he'll be at the end. And obviously, cream rises to the top, as they say, and that Scheffler guy is #1
And the guy that I think tied for 4th, I'll have to pull the story up, tied for 4th or 5th, he shot 6 or 7 under. Scheffler was only 3 under, but he shot, 69, 67, 66. I mean, he was consistent. And this guy was up in the 70s, and he actually played the best round of the Open yesterday, but he ended up in 4th or 5th place because he just, it's consistency with Scheffler.
Yeah, and that's the key. I don't mind bragging. I have shot in the 60s, 68, 69 on the first 9.
Yeah, that little par 3 course out there up north, Morris. That's
It doesn't. Okay.
Yeah, I would have shot par.
These are
I took a 10 on the hole with the windmill.
In case we have any other old fogies out there across the rest of Major League Baseball, yesterday the Blue Jays beat the Giants. The Orioles were over the Rays. The Los Angeles Angels beat the Phillies 8-2. White Sox 7-2 over the Pirates. Boy, the Pirates are struggling. They're like
the White Sox beating up on the Pirates. You know how bad the White Sox are.
And the Pirates, I've got the standings here somewhere, but the Pirates are 20.5 games behind.
Already, we're just about the halfway point.
Now this is a little bit of inside baseball, but my cousin is the legal counsel and the general manager for the Pittsburgh Pirates, and when they play Los Angeles, the entire Pittsburgh Pirates payroll is equal to what they're paying the top 2 players in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
So you figure, how do you compete against that? And the answer is you don't.
Yeah, you can.
But in Pittsburgh, they're happy to get a 60% full stadium, sell some jerseys, have some rallying cries. They had the strongest farm system in Major League Baseball. 2 years ago, Pittsburgh is where Chicago was in 2013. And then they won the series in, 15 or 16. So they had this great farm team coming up, and everybody knew that they were going to be good. And then Pittsburgh develops them and then sells them. and their pitcher goes to L.A. and their catcher goes to Chicago, and their second baseman, goes to
Well,
St. Louis.
it was the same way in Chicago for the Cubs. They, as long as they had people in the stands, butts in the seats, and they sold their beer and their jerseys and so forth, they were happy because Cub fans weren't used to winning. And until, of course, they did win
Until
the World
16.
Series against Cleveland. And now, Jed Hoyer is doing a good job bringing up players and trading for pitchers and so forth. They had a couple of guys pitching against Boston I never heard of. I thought, where'd they get these guys?
Cuba.
Yeah. Well, and we're not talking about Illinois. either.
And the Yankees beat the Braves 4-2. Padres 8-1 over the Nationals. The Mets beat the Reds 3-2. Kansas City 7-4 over the Marlins, and the Guardians 8-2 over the Athletics. Who else in there? Looks like the Rockies dropped big.
They're another bad
Twins.
team this year.
Twins beat the Rockies 7-1. Astros, oh boy, batting clinic with over the Mariners 11-3, and then the Tigers 2-1 over. Oh, I just lost it. Tigers beat the Rangers 2-1. That's Major League Baseball, and not a whole lot else going on other than the Peoria Merchants, Mike Olson's team, took first in the overall standings.
They did.
In the Colonel League, and they got second place in the tournament. So they were defeated in the championship game, but they went on a hell of a streak. I think they only lost 5 games in the last month, and
Good
they
for
played 3
them.
days a week.
Good for them.
So
That's good.
congratulations to Mike and the
You
Peoria
bet.
Merchants. Tegan Disharoon picked up the win in the semifinal game.
Who's that?
Tegan Disharoon.
Say that again. I didn't hear you.
Tegan Disharoon.
I didn't know.
That's my nephew hails from Los Angeles, California,
Oh, thank you.
but is playing or attending, let's see, what is that? Lincoln Land College in Springfield. Played a semester at Spoon and then got hooked up with Mike Olson, and this is his second year in the
Is
Merchants
that
League.
right?
Yeah.
Well, terrific. So I was wondering why you from Cuba would know about the Peoria Merchants, but you had a personal family connection. So
Well,
good for you.
I mean, if you know Mike Olson,
Yes, I
he's
do.
involved in everything sports
yeah,
related.
yeah.
And a couple years ago, Mike rekindled Little League Baseball in Peoria. And we tried to give him a little assist there to do it. We all grew up in my era
did,
playing
but
West Peoria Little League. Royce Elliott was my first coach.
I'm sorry to hear
And,
that.
No, I mean, not only did he have one-liners, you got to hit the ball or you're not going to hit the ball. He was working on his stand-up act, and Ty was a year or two behind me, but Ty was an outstanding player. But there used to be literally 400 or 500 kids
Oh,
going to Bradley
absolutely.
Park on our bikes. Playing baseball,
right, yeah.
and nobody got cut. They had, if they need another team, they'd go to First National Bank and say, "Hey, you want to sponsor some T-shirts and gloves?" And there were, I don't know, a dozen or so teams just in West Peoria. Then Richwoods had a league, Woodruff had a league,
Peoria Christian
Peoria
Center.
Christian Center had a league, and now, until Mike rekindled this a couple of years ago, you're like, what are the kids doing? Well, we know what they're doing, but they're not
good
playing
things.
baseball.
Yeah.
Right.
No, and that was back in the days when the Peoria Journal transcript would print the standings and the results of Little League games in the sports pages. We couldn't wait until we had the Sunday paper delivered
See
and
your name in the
look
paper.
at in the newspaper for the box scores.
And I was a little bit after the transcript. It was actually the Journal Star, but it did publish both morning and afternoon
That's right.
edition.
Yeah.
And I was an afternoon carrier, so I did Saturday and Sunday as well. And we'd open up those to see the little box score of West
Exactly
Peoria Little
right.
League. And everybody cut that out and put it in the scrapbook. But it was if you weren't playing Little League in the summer, you weren't really growing up in Central Peoria.
Well, and the point is there was a big emphasis by parents and others like Mike Olson to keep the leagues alive and well. I remember we played against Georgia Squirt, and the team was coached by A.J. Robinson, and as you might know, they were the best of the best. We always lost to them, no matter what we did, how good we played. Georgia Squirt always won because A.J. Robertson was a legend in the community and sports.
Well, I think they paid those kids. I think they
Well, I don't know if they paid him, but they certainly recruited
They
him.
do
He had an
recruit.
eye for talent.
Yeah, he
And
did.
if you want to go play for AJ, then you
And they had the
why not?
best uniforms too.
Oh, yeah.
I played with a team called Rocket Coal Company, and the best we could do were jerseys, not pants, like they did with the Durgis Squirt team, and
What was the name of
ball
that team? Say the Durgis Squirt
caps.
team?
Yes, Durgis Squirt. Do you remember? It was
No.
a soda
It's
pop.
a squirt
Yeah,
bottling.
Squirt bottling. You know,
Mhm.
if it's they
Never
were
heard of
run
it.
by 7-Up. You never heard of
Really?
Squirt and Diet Squirt?
Well, I've heard of Squirt, but not Durgis.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was owned by Ellen Durgis's father, as I recall, who later became Ellen Foster of Foster Gallagher.
So it was a
She
local
married
company.
Tom Post.
I've never heard of
Foster.
that.
Yeah.
Well, he was the distributor.
Okay.
So it would be like Kemmerer Bottling or,
yeah.
you know, Peoria Coke, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Durgis
they also
Squirt.
bottled 7-Up. Was
Yeah.
7-Up a part of that corporation?
7-Up actually had a bottling plant out by Vanakins in North Knoxville.
Yeah. Where were you?
Wow. Asleep, I guess. I
Yes,
don't
I was
remember. Yeah.
Did you play any sports at all growing up? Because you're a tall guy and slim and
a
trim.
little bit of basketball. We had the undefeated team in the city at Hines.
At Hines School, really?
Hines Grade School. I remember
I'll be doggone.
we beat a team. It was terrible because back then the scoreboards only had double digits, and we actually beat a team 100 to like 35 or something. We scored 100 points.
See, that's unsportsmanlike conduct.
Well, we were playing and we were in, and then we had our third string. I think we had a couple of cheerleaders in there, and we saw we were getting close to 100. So the first
poured
string,
it on.
we just went.
That was your coach.
Terry Richards, and
With that, I do remember that name.
after the game, he took us back in the he just
spanked
screamed and
you?
yelled, and we had to go into the visitors' locker room and apologize and
Apologize.
shake their hand. It was Columbia, grade
Columbia
school that we
become.
beat, and
Mm.
it was a terrible thing. But as a kid,
It was fun to beat up on people.
Who scored 100
Especially
points?
Columbia. I mean,
Yeah.
Columbia.
Columbia, yeah.
Who scores 100
Gem of
points
the
in grade
ocean.
school, right? I mean,
Yeah,
it was-
right. That is
they only had
absolutely
double digit,
amazing.
scoreboards. So it was 0 to 39.
I'm trying to think when you went to Hines, who was the principal then?
Etog or something like that.
Yes, Etaugh.
Yeah.
Etaugh. I think her husband taught at, my wife, this means my late wife, was library manager at Hines School.
What was her name?
Nancy Monroe.
I don't remember. I wouldn't go to the
Okay.
library
So
back
Claire
then.
Etaugh ended up teaching at Bradley. Was it
Yes.
Claire or her husband? Was it a man?
It was a man.
Okay.
It was a man.
Yeah, he was principal.
Yeah.
I do remember the name. I knew a little bit about Hines because, as I say, she was the library manager. But my mom and dad lived on Ivy Lane, which is connected with Bigelow,
Mhm.
and their backyard abutted with the school grounds of
Oh, right,
Hines
right.
School. And a lot of the kids would walk between my mom and dad's house and their next door neighbors. They had a sidewalk that you could go from Bigelow and Ivy Lane over to Hines
I
School.
walked every day. We lived in Knollcrest, and I used to cross Lake Street. I did that in kindergarten.
Interesting.
Yeah. And then I went to St. Phil's for a while. I went to St. Phil's first through 5th grade, and then 6th, 7th, and 8th I went to Hines.
Mhm. Interesting for 10 points. What famous Hollywood celebrity attended Hines School? And
Tammy Lane.
Tammy Lane. And
Terry Groy.
Terry, yeah, Terry.
Extra credit?
Yeah.
Yeah. And his family realized that he was Catholic and
Tammy Lane.
needed to go to, yes. She won, she and her partner, her boss, was nominated for an Academy Award and got it for, what was the Chronicles of Narnia? Was that what it was
So-
for?
She's a makeup artist.
Oh, really?
She was
Okay.
a makeup artist,
Oh.
yeah.
I did
yeah,
not know that.
and,
How old would she be?
Oh, that's a good question. But I had the
Oh, younger.
pleasure of,
Younger.
60,
late
50s.
nominating her to have the street that leads up to Hines School with an honorary designation as, get
Oh,
this, Tammy Lane.
Tammy Lane.
Wasn't that
Lane.
clever
Okay,
on
yeah.
my
Oh,
part?
that's really smart.
I'll take
Yeah.
accolades for it.
Yeah. You did that?
Yes.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Honorary
And
Curly
she's-
Boo Johnson
she was-
Street.
Yes. She was really,
I would-
really nice, lovely lady. Loves
Who
to
was
fish.
special?
And lost her father, who was Roger Lane, who was baseball coach at Woodruff High School for a number of years.
Oh,
And he married the former Penny Searles,
Yeah.
known as Penny Lane.
I was going to latch on to that until you
I
hit your
don't think
punchline.
that's true.
Let's get into the news. And we're going to chat with former F-18 fighter pilot coming up very shortly, Dick Crane, so stay tuned for that. In the meantime, we have the news at the bottom of the hour, and it's brought to you by Matt Wall. He's certified public accountant and tax specialist with Gordon Stackman. Matt has more than 40 years of tax reporting and financial planning experience. You can reach him at 692-4030. Now the news with Terry.
A rash of shootings in Peoria over the weekend. One of those sent a 24-year-old man by car to a local hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. He reportedly was wounded near the intersection of Sterling and Forest Hill. Gunplay early Saturday resulted in a woman taking bullets to both feet in the area of Star and Westmoreland. A few hours later, another 24-year-old shooting victim arrived at the emergency room of OSF St. Francis Medical Center with a gunshot wound to the arm. No arrests have been made. Peoria Proud held its River City Pride Festival Saturday morning. Despite a little bit of rain, the festival went on as scheduled at the riverfront, celebrating the city's LGBTQ community. The 76th annual Heart of Illinois Fair also went on, though some who attended thought the event should have been canceled. No carnival and no people. The grounds at Exposition Gardens were empty. The Heart of Illinois Fair is now just a memory of what was. The folks in Chillicothe had a good time last week as they celebrated their Sweet Corn Festival. Unlike the Peoria Fair, lots of people enjoyed sweet corn and other good food. Some good news on the national scene as officials in Kerrville, Texas, site of the deadly flood, report only 3 people remain missing. At one time, 160 were counted as missing from Kerr County alone. Sadly, 135 lost their lives. The Director of Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, has released some 100 pages of documents she says reveal secret plans by President Obama and members of his intelligence agencies to undermine the presidency of Donald Trump during the early days of his first term. The former Democrat says the evidence is overwhelming and are nothing short of historic. Gabbard said Obama engaged in a conspiracy days before he was to leave office in what was termed Russian collusion. Another 4 years of investigations is now known as the Russian hoax. An off-duty officer with the U.S. Customs and Border Protection Agency was shot in the face by an illegal immigrant during an attempted armed robbery in New York City. Though wounded, the 42-year-old officer shot his attacker, who was arrested. Court documents show the criminal immigrant had been released 4 times by judges despite deportation orders. The controversial mayor of Los Angeles, Karen Bass, says the city will be unable to rebuild after the wildfires she failed to prevent without immigrants. Bass said her city is a city of immigrants, and without them, work will be difficult. And those are the headlines, Roger.
All right, thank you kindly. And now a check of the weather brought to you by our friends at Peoria Pet Crematory. You know, losing a pet affects just about everyone, and the folks at Peoria Pet know that, and that's why they're available 24/7 to help you through the grieving process, offering several choices for care and remembrance. Peoria Pet Crematory, wonderful folks. You can reach them at 309-713-1898. The weather now.
There we go. Extreme heat. It's going to be terrible all week long. Partly sunny today, slight chance for afternoon rain. High in the low 80s, but it's going to feel like the 90s with the humidity out there. Tomorrow, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday, it'll be in the 90s. It's just going to be horrible out there. It really is. We'll hear live from our meteorologist, Kyle Varnold, at 8:30 this morning. Right now, it's a chilly 71.
All right, thank you. That's a check of the news and weather at the bottom of the hour. Normally, when we call and talk to Dick Crane, a graduate of Manual High School and Bradley University, we talk about war and fighter planes. But this morning, we're going to talk about a different kind of war, and that's a war against ALS, often referred to as Lou Gehrig's disease. And Dick was on the line. Good morning, Dick.
Good morning, Rob. Thank you.
Well, it's a pleasure as always, and you have a personal interest in ALS. Tell us a little bit about what's going on in your part of the world.
Yeah, it is a horrific disease that affects about 5,000 Americans a year, and a very first thing that I was is ALS. The technical name is amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, and it's a horrific disease. And you mentioned it's known as Lou Gehrig's disease, and that was when baseball player Lou Gehrig got it. It was diagnosed. It was actually one of the I think the diagnosis of ALS in America, and that was in 1939. And there's still no cure. So over 80 years ago, and there's no cure. It is a horrific disease because it doesn't only affect just the person with ALS, but it affects the entire family. Because more times than not, the spouse is a full-time caregiver, and it just is brutal to the family, not only because of the disease, but financially, because more times than not, the parents leave their jobs, so they take 100% pay cut, and then from the diagnosis until the disease is terminal, there is a lot of expense. So you take 100% pay cut, you have a lot of expense with equipment and things that the caregiver needs and that the person with ALS needs, and it's brutal. So we started this foundation called the Mark Foundation to help support the families that are affected with this disease. And we're also starting a lobby with Congress to help get some things changed so that these families can get help. What we're trying to do is what we have done is create this foundation. It's a nonprofit. We can support these families as they go through this terrible disease.
A well-known Caterpillar executive, Ed Rapp, and John Desharoon is here and knows Ed Rapp. He has been kind of a leader on behalf of ALS and has been, I don't know if you want to mention what you know about Ed, John, but is still alive today and has, you might say, overcome the odds that you face when you are diagnosed with Lou Gehrig's disease.
Yeah, for most folks, it's a 3 to 5 year journey, and Ed was diagnosed in 2015, so he's going on 10 years now of survival. He's getting treatment that most normal folks don't get. Obviously, he was a well-paid CAT executive, and he had access to some health care that other folks wouldn't have because it's not covered by insurance, and he could fit the bill for. But he put a collaboration together, including a bunch of data scientists from, I think, IBM and a couple of consulting firms to open up records and crunch numbers so that doctors across the world could share diagnoses, experiences, and testimonials from patients and some of these experimental treatments to try to get to the bottom of ALS. And like you said, Mr. Crane, it's been going on for 80 or 90 years now, and it's still a terminal disease. But Ed has beat the odds from survivorship. I mean, it's still terminal, but he's walking still with a cane. I think I've seen a couple of pictures of him being wheeled around a little bit, but 10 years post-diagnosis for most folks, it's a graveyard visit. So The treatments that he's doing have been extremely successful, and he's got this collaboration. He's got a foundation as well. They come to Peoria and walk every year downtown. Several thousand people participate in it, but his whole focus is working with like Mayo Clinic and Boston University and IBM and a couple of others to open up the medical records and data share and allow the data scientists to do an analysis and try to drive some consensus between folks to do some experimental things to help overcome this god awful disease. And I'm so sorry that you know somebody who's going through it, because it is a life changer.
Yeah, it's just brutal. And, I appreciate everything that you shared, your friend, and I know that most people know what it is, ALS, or they've heard of it. Everybody pretty much has heard of Lou Gehrig's disease. And it is a brutal disease because what happens, it's a motor neuron disease. So the nerves in the brain and the spinal cord are affected, and what that does is it causes the muscles to deteriorate, and they deteriorate because they atrophy, because the nerves that control the muscle movement quit working, and therefore the muscle doesn't work, and it basically integrates after an amount of time. POS doesn't discriminate. It doesn't matter what color you are, what your gender is, what your ethnicity is, what your socioeconomic background is, what your age is. It can affect anybody. And that, with that being said, we're all, live with them. And you mentioned the caregiver, when it requires 100% time care. And to the point where the caregiver can't even leave to go or need those necessary things to live. And the fact that it does require 100% care for everything, and you can imagine if you have to be careful for everything you do, how you know, it's your dignity as well. And there are people that leave their jobs and they don't have the means, just like you said, your friend had the means because he was financially secure and could pay for everything. It's just that way for everybody. And there are too many stories that I've seen, and I've, gotten really involved with this because of my friend Mark. And one of the things that is so brutal about this disease is it affects different parts of the body. It could start in hand movement or being able to swallow or just any number of different areas of your body. And for my friend Mark, it affected his diaphragm first. And that's usually the last thing to go because what allows you to breathe. So it affected him first there. So he's been on the breathing machine for a long time, well, for several years. And feeding tube. The next thing would be the plate tube, which would help him breathe, but he has decided that he's not going to do that. He's going to go as long as he can where he is right now. And, obviously that could change, but it's a terrifying disease as well. And I am claustrophobic, and I don't know where the heck that came from. I wasn't that way when I was younger, but I am now. And doing MRI, there's no way I can't do it. And the thought of not being able to get your breath, you cannot breathe. You can't imagine how terrifying that is. And hence that's why he's on the breathing machine. It just would be a nightmare.
Well, did
To be trapped in your body and not be able to breathe. So
is there a
that's why we started this foundation to help people.
Yeah, I want to talk about the foundation in just a moment, but is it possible, being a fighter pilot going into an air war in Iraq, when they closed the canopy, maybe that started it? It started for me.
Yeah.
Well, see what things. That was one, Roger. Closing the canopy and you're in that little platoon for a while, but when I went through prisoner of war school, that could have been it because I mean it although it's training, it sure seems real when you're getting beat up and lock you in a little box and you don't know how long you were in there. And
Sounds like my show.
yeah,
Minus Terry Ronnie. I mean,
Yeah. Terry Grawley is really a horrific family.
yeah, it could be worse. It could be worse.
Oh, no, no, please don't mention that. I'm getting scared.
You know, I could ride roller coasters. I could do everything right now because anytime I feel like I'm confined, I just can't stand that. So, going back to my friend Mark and him not being able to get that, this would be terrifying. And I can't imagine how so he feels, but he's very strong and he's fighting it. His mind is still good, which is a blessing. So, we're just trying to make a
Well,
difference. That's
Dick and Mark will be in our prayers. How can we support your foundation?
well, the big thing is pray would be the first thing, more than anything. And we were gladly accepted. And if you feel led to donate, we are extremely grateful. And that money, 100% of that money will be put to good use. And that's at NovaScope.com, NOVASCP.com, NovaScope.com. And anything we're grateful for.
And I appreciate bringing it to our attention. And certainly we will have Mark in our prayers. Thanks, Dick, as always. God bless you for what you're doing.
Well, thank you, to you as well.
You bet. Thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Dick Crane, as I say, a graduate of Manual High School and Bradley University, went on to become an F-18 pilot for the U.S. Navy and certainly represented our country quite well and still doing good things, particularly for his dear friend. I think all of us, particularly of my generation at any rate, do remember fondly watching on television, not when it happened, but later on, Lou Gehrig, as he announced to the world that he had Lou Gehrig's disease, although it wasn't known then as Lou Gehrig's disease, but is today. And I think I want to play this for you when he spoke before his fans, New York Yankee fans at Yankee Stadium. And as usual, it would have been nice, Roger, if you would have been able to have the pot up so the fans could hear it. Let's try it again.
Today, I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth. When you look around, wouldn't you consider it privilege to associate yourself with such a fine-looking man as is standing in uniform in this ballpark today? Been given a bad grade, but I've got an awful lot to live for. Thank you.
Okay. That was the words of Lou Gehrig. Do you remember watching it in the theater by any chance? Movietone News later on as they showed his remarks at Yankee Stadium when he revealed that he had ALS, although they all knew it, but that he was retiring from baseball because of it.
A little before my time, but I remember seeing the reruns.
Yeah, I remember seeing. I don't remember where I first saw it, but I remember.
Mhm.
I think everybody's seen it. Right?
Did you know Ed Rapp when he was at Caterpillar? Were you there then as well?
Oh, absolutely. Knew him very well. We were both in Europe. We were stationed in Europe at the same time.
He was a few salary grades higher than I was at the time, but he went on to be a group president and was widely speculated to be the next chairman before he was diagnosed with
Yeah,
ALS.
he
And
was going to be it. Wasn't
Ed made the call. I can either run Caterpillar or I can take care of my health and my family. And he made the choice to retire and look after ALS and take care of his kids.
he?
Make
He was out running with his son, I think, wasn't he? And
That's where it started.
something
They were at
happened.
the lake down in the Ozarks, and as they were running, he was dragging a foot, and his son said, "Dad, what's going on?" He goes, "Well, I don't know. I just kind of started." And went undiagnosed for a while, and they went up to Mayo Clinic, and they're like, "Yeah, this isn't good." So it was
Remember what year that was by chance?
I believe it was 2015. Might have started in 2014, but he retired. It's been 10 years ago.
Yeah, and he moved east, I think, to be closer to a daughter. Do I remember that part
So
correctly?
he had spent some time before he moved back to Peoria the final time. He was the vice president of building construction products down in North Carolina, and so they still had an estate down there, and he went down there.
If my memory serves me right, I think he lived across the street from where Bob Larson, a former weather guy and news guy at Channel 31, and Bob Larson knew Ed and his family quite well.
Great guy, great family. In fact,
That's what I was saying.
his wife um, grew up for a period of time. I lived all over Peoria, but when we lived over by Newman Golf Course, she lived right around the corner from us. And her father was my history teacher and homeroom teacher at Washington Grade School.
Interesting.
And so years later, and of course you don't know this stuff, right? And then I started CAT in the late '80s, and I met Ed within the first couple of years I was there. Easy enough guy to know before he moved out to California. And I saw his wife at the credit union, and somebody mentioned that she was retiring because her husband was moving to California. And I'm like, I know a guy moving to California. And I put two and two together, and I was like, oh, my former neighbor, former school teacher's daughter is married to an up and coming executive at Caterpillar. Just a great guy, great family. His goal when he retired was to manage his disease and walk his daughter down the aisle, which he's done, and he's got grandkids now. He sends an update to a bunch of people on his list, once a quarter.
Every
or
now and
so.
then. Yeah, that's what we've heard. He's been a guest on the show a couple of times, but it's been quite some time since we chatted with him. So maybe we'll see if we can get in touch with him and
Well, Mike
get an update.
Dentino, the charming and delightful Mike Dentino, who I notice is back on your show, courtesy of Google Lens up there. His wife was the HR director for Ed Rap when they lived in North Carolina.
I did not know
So
that.
yeah,
Interesting.
she has she's got a great connection with him as well, and can tell some great stories. ALS is such an awful disease. When I was in high school, one of my best friend's mom was diagnosed with it, and she went from running a ceramic shop and going to all the baseball games and hauling everybody around the back of her truck to a wheelchair in about 6 months. And it was debilitating because it was such a major change from baseball season, one season to the next when we went over to their house. She was fully lucid, but she had no control over her body. And so she knew what was going on, but couldn't control her mouth or lips or anything. The kids, 100% care. And I don't think she lived more than maybe 9 months or a year after diagnosis. So it was immediate on her. It is, but it's so sad because so you go back to high school. Our parents are probably in their 50s, right?
Yeah.
Maybe late 40s, 50s. And the change for Mrs. Zahner was so immediate that it really made a lasting impact on me. And then, 30 years later, a very good friend of ours, their son, who a little bit older than my son, was diagnosed with ALS. Same thing. He was working the night shift at Walmart, and he kept falling over. He was cleaning all the floors, and they started calling him Humpty Dumpty. And his dad's like, that's not right. What's going on? You're drinking, you're drugs, and he's like, no, occasionally I fall. And they took him in, and bam, diagnosed with ALS. And I don't think he lived 2 years. But they converted his house to handicap accessible, so everything. He had two little kids. They're now in college. But Brett was diagnosed at probably 29 and
Oh my.
dead at 30.
Yeah, and as you've suggested, and we've just talked about, the pressure, the stress on caregivers is indescribable.
You're not built for that.
Mm.
I mean, people go into healthcare for different reasons, but they're trained to take care of that. A parent, a sibling, a child to take care of
Not
their
trained for it.
no, just and there's absolutely nothing you can do, and the way it attacks the muscles, and I think the cruelest part of it is that your brain is intact, so you know what's going on, and you can't do a damn thing about it.
Yeah. Well, we can do about it with a temperature of 71. To remind you that we're in for a hot spell. And also, it's a good time for our pet tip of the day.
Today's pet tip is brought to you by Peoria Pet Crematory of Peoria and Lewiston, providing final care for family pets, large and small, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Their phone number is 713-1898. That's 713-1898. More information is available at peoriapetcrematory.com.
Pet lovers are dedicated to their animals, all species from horses to turtles, and of course, cats and dogs. If you are a pet lover, learn these little-known, somewhat amazing facts about your pet. You can be your dog's doctor in a pinch. Some common drugs in your medicine cabinet can also ease Fido's minor ailments. Use common sense and read the caution labels. Minor temporary pain and soreness can be treated with aspirin. 80 milligrams or 1 baby aspirin for 50 to 100 pounds of animal weight would be safe. Aspirin is generally safe for dogs, but not all pain relievers. Do not give your pet Tylenol or acetaminophen. Allergies can be treated with Benadryl. 1 milligram per pound of animal weight 2 times daily should be a safe dose. Tummy upsets can be treated with Pepto-Bismol. You would give 1 teaspoon per 20 pounds of animal weight every 4 to 6 hours, up to 24 hours. Constipation is best treated with canned pumpkin, not pumpkin pie mix, just the canned pumpkin. Mix it with their dry food and they will think it's a treat. Approximately 2 tablespoons for 20 pounds of body weight. These few tips may help you avoid unnecessary trips to the vet and make your pet more comfortable through short-term ailments. As always, if what we try at home doesn't work or our pet seems to worsen, we should see our veterinarian as soon as possible. This whisker of information has been made possible by a grant from the Corporation for Public Broadcasting in partnership with Spot, Saving Pets One at a Time, and KSBR Studios. Produced by Joseph C. McGuire and theme music by Stuardo Glasser.
Today's pet tip has been brought to you by Peoria Pet Crematory of Peoria and Lewiston, providing final care for family pets, large and small, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Their phone number is 713-1898. That's 713-1898. More information is available at peoriapetcrematory.com.
Well, thank you kindly, Lou Linder, our pet tip of the day. A lovely call from one of our listeners, and Mardell Buckland had indicated that she had some people in her family stricken with ALS, and appreciated our conversation about the deadly disease. We have more coming up in the next hour. We're going to talk to former Congressman Ray LaHood and get his views on what's happening in Washington, D.C. and whatever else we decide to explore. And we want to say good morning to everybody on YouTube. Thanks for joining us, and happy to see everybody. And that includes Terry Chamberlain and John Disharoon sitting in for John Meisinger, who's on assignment, and
The vacationing John Meisinger.
Yes, that's another way to put it. At any rate, news, weather, sports coming up next. So happy you could join us on this beautiful Monday morning, the 21st of July. on WAGU FM 90.7, beautiful Peoria, Illinois. And pleasant good morning, everybody. As we mentioned, this is Monday, the 21st of July, and we begin with a check of the weather brought to you by Advanced Medical Transport of Central Illinois. In a time of need, AMT will be there in a matter of minutes with the most skilled and advanced pre-hospital care possible. Wonderful folks at AMT dedicated to providing a better life through better health.
Extreme heat watch from midnight tonight till 7 p.m. on Thursday. Partly sunny today, little chance for rain. High in the low 80s, but it's still going to feel like it's in the 90s with the humidity that's out there. Tonight, partly cloudy, possible showers, low 72. And you might have noticed a weird color out there today. We'll talk about that with Kyle Varnold around 8:30 this morning. Tomorrow, sunny and hot, high near 90. Heat index 102. Wednesday, sunny and very hot. High 94, Thursday 95, Friday and Saturday, possible showers both days in the 90s. Right now, it's 71 at the Wazoo.
It's a hot spell.
It's hot. And
Yeah.
I know,
But
smell
even though it's not
the
really hot yet, it's
spit of
so
the devil.
muggy
It's the devil's
this
spit.
morning. And you mentioned the color of the sky,
It was
the air,
weird.
the
I don't know if it
atmosphere.
still is. We don't have any
When
windows.
you're wearing your sunglasses.
No, it wasn't like
okay.
bright. It was just a different color.
Okay. Yeah.
And I'm sure it's atmospheric. I'm sure the world's coming to an end. But anyway, good morning,
Well,
everybody.
yeah. Hope you're having a good time.
You're having a good time. Thing you've been putting off for a while.
Yes, because it just might be the end. Anyway, the check of the news brought to you by Steve Sink, managing partners with PHX affiliates. Steve has been working with people who want to buy or sell a business for over 20 years. He knows business. You can learn more from Steve at 309-696-8508. Now the news. We'll lead off with one of the two Terrys.
There were a rash of shootings in Peoria over the weekend. One of those sent a 24-year-old man by car to a local hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. He reportedly was wounded near the intersection of Sterling and Forest Hill.
Gunplay early Saturday. What do you call it? Gunplay. It makes it sound.
It's like Coldplay.
It's like fun, right? Hey,
Yeah.
there's a little gunplay Saturday.
Yeah.
But it resulted in a woman taking bullets in both feet in the area of Star and Westmoreland.
You know, when I first read that story, I thought I remember a sequence on Gunsmoke where the gunman made the banker, "Let's see you dance,"
Oh,
shot his feet.
Mhm.
You think that might have been
maybe she wasn't dancing.
what was
that,
happening?
but
Let me see you dance.
Could have been. It was just, and that's why it's called gunplay.
Yes.
A few hours later, another 24-year-old shooting victim arrived at the emergency room of OSF St. Francis Medical Center with a gunshot wound to the arm. Not to make fun of gunshot wounds. But
No, that's right.
no arrests have been made, but police did say ShotSpotter alerts recorded 34 shots.
That's just-
34. So
That's a lot of shots.
it's got to be gunplay because there's only 2 people that got hit and there's 34 shots. Somebody was just playing around because
Yeah.
I mean, you missed 30. They missed 32 times. For you history buffs out there, that number, the 34 shots was less than what was fired at the OK Corral in 1881.
Did you read the story? You remember that?
The OK Corral, yeah, I was there.
It
I remember.
was the ARP Was it what?
Wyatt? Wyatt and Morgan and Virgil.
And
And
All
Earp.
the Earp brothers.
Yeah, the Earp brothers were there.
And weren't they from Illinois?
No, but Wyatt worked. He ran a
Worked at
Yeah.
Caterpillar.
down south of
Worked
Peoria.
at Caterpillar, did he?
Oh,
Down in Peoria?
Yeah.
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 I did not.
Wyatt was born in Monmouth,
The
if I'm not
Earp, the
mistaken.
Earp Saloon.
It was before Cat. Yeah, Wyatt Earp was.
He
Famous Western lawman, but he had a tavern in Peoria for a
He
while.
had his
Called
shady
the-
past.
It's called the Earp and Slurp. Well, I'm not sure, but I think it was.
Thank you for bringing that up, John.
Thanks, John.
You're welcome.
Peoria Proud held its River City Pride Festival Saturday morning. Despite some rain, the festival went on as scheduled at the riverfront, celebrating the city's LGBTQ community.
And the 76th annual Heart of Illinois Fair also went on, though some who attended thought the event should have been canceled. Is that you, Roger?
That was me.
No carnival and no people. The grounds at Expo Gardens were like a ghost town with barns and exhibit buildings closed tighter than Fort Knox with unhappy vendors outnumbering attendees. The Heart of Illinois Fair is now just a memory of what was once.
Beautiful memories, too.
Yeah, a lot of. We have to talk about that sometime. Those grandstand shows were, they were fabulous. They were free.
Wonderful. Yeah.
Everything. Yeah.
Yep.
Anyway.
The folks in Chillicothe had a good time last week as they celebrated their sweet corn festival. Unlike the Peoria Fair, lots of people enjoyed sweet corn and other good food, especially on Saturday.
Some good news on the national scene as officials in Caryville, Texas, site of the deadly flood, report only 3 people remain missing. At one time, 160 were counted as missing from Cary County alone. Sadly, 135 lost their lives.
The Director of Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, has released some 100 pages of documents she says reveal secret plans by President Obama and members of his intelligence agencies to undermine the presidency of Donald Trump during the early days of his first term. The former Democrat says the evidence is overwhelming and nothing short of historic. Gabbard said Obama engaged in a conspiracy days before he was to leave office in what was termed Russian collusion. After 4 years of investigation, it's now known as the Russian hoax.
An off-duty officer for the U.S. Customs and Border Protection Agency was shot in the face by an illegal immigrant during an attempted armed robbery in New York City. Though wounded, the 42-year-old officer shot his attacker, who was arrested. Court documents show the criminal immigrant had been released 4 times by judges despite deportation orders. Police are searching for his accomplice, apparently, so a judge can release him as well.
The controversial mayor of Los Angeles, Karen Bass, says the city will be unable to rebuild after the wildfires she failed to prevent without immigrants. Bass said her city is a city of immigrants, and without them, work will be difficult. Little has been done since the January fires.
Let's close with a heartwarming story this morning. A young teenage girl in Grapevine, Texas, was complaining of a numb leg, fatigue, and dizziness. Her 18-year-old boyfriend insisted she go to the hospital and called for an ambulance. Turns out it was a wise decision. Katie Rangel was showing symptoms of a stroke. ER doctors were able to take quick action and prevent major medical consequences and possibly even death. Roger, that's all we have for the news today.
Okay, 7:07 is our time, and now we have sports brought to you by Sam Lilly and Associates. He's an insurance pro and really the dean of independent insurance brokers in our area. As we say, been around for over 40 years. He knows insurance. He can help you. For more information from Sam Lilly and Associates, the phone number 309-245-4374. And John DeSharoon is here sitting in for the vacationing John Meisinger.
Thank you, Roger. Wilyer Abreu homered twice and drove in 3 runs, and the Boston Red Sox beat the Chicago Cubs 6-1 on Sunday to avoid the series sweep. Alex Bregman also connected as Boston rallied after managing just 1 run in its first 2 games with the Cubs after the All-Star break. Garrett Crochet pitched 6 effective innings in his 4th consecutive win. Out in Phoenix, Eugenio Suarez homered twice for the 2nd consecutive day, and Merrill Kelly allowed 2 runs in 6 innings to help the Arizona Diamondbacks beat back the St. Louis Cardinals 5-3 on Sunday. Suarez has 6 multi-homer games this season, including a 4-homer game April 26, and leads the majors with 20 home runs
since June 1st. He launched a 3-run drive off starter Miles Mikolas in the first inning and a solo shot in the third. A little bit of good news for local baseball fans. Abner Uribe retired Mookie Betts with the bases loaded for the final out, and the Milwaukee Brewers beat the Los Angeles Dodgers 6-5 on Sunday for their 10th straight victory. So Milwaukee is on a run. Ohtani for the Dodgers hit a 2-run homer for the Dodgers, but Isaac Collins snapped a 6th-inning tie with a 2-run single as the Brewers finished 6-0 this season against the defending World Series champs. So they are taking on Los Angeles, and they are winning. In Northern Ireland, Scotty Scheffler won the British Open, or the Open as they call it. He had all the time in the world to celebrate his latest major title, carding a 68 on Sunday to cruise to a 4-stroke victory in the Open Championship at Royal Portrush. The outcome was never in doubt Sunday as golf's #1 player finished at 17 under par, 267, delivering yet another dominant performance to win his second major this year and grab the third leg of a career Grand Slam. The guy just makes it look easy.
He does, doesn't he?
Just a phenomenal athlete and golfer, and what a great guy. I mean, avoided or blew off the cameras and the microphone and went and grabbed his wife and his son and held on the Clarion Cup. Just tremendous to see.
Did you do a lot of when you were with Caterpillar? Did you do golf tournaments? Were you involved in that at all?
Yeah, so the Cat had a golf league, and I played for a couple of years before I moved. Most of my career was outside of Peoria, but when I was here, I mean, the guys in NACD, our North American Commercial Division, would they would live for Mondays and Thursdays and leave at 3:00 and go fill up the golf courses. But it was very competitive, and in fact, one of the guys that retired out of NACD has been hosting an annual golf outing. I think this might be his 50th year.
Really?
Doing it. And I mean, Rap used to come back. All these guys would come back and play with
Where'd you play?
They played out at Arrowhead.
Well, they didn't play at Peoria Country Club.
It got too expensive, so I think Arrowhead. There were
Arrowhead's
several.
a nice club.
It is, and you can get a tournament in there for relatively low greens fees. Everybody else is too high around here to bring your outings. But if you belong to Arrowhead, all the members get to play for free. Essentially, I think they pay for a cart, and then everybody else it's maybe $50 versus 100 plus food. But yeah, so a lot of good golfers at Cat.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's part of the job, right?
Well,
it's in your job interview.
If you're in sales, those of us in public policy, we had to go to political fundraisers and raise money to play golf.
The sales guys just played golf
and sold tractors.
Played golf and went to Big Al's. Took everybody to Big Al's.
When our customers would come in, 2 things they always wanted to do in Peoria. Alexander Street Steakhouse and Big Al's.
Yeah.
In that order. They want to eat and then go watch.
And be entertained.
And then listen to music, I guess.
Yeah. Listen.
And it's closed.
Read the articles.
Big Al's is closed now, isn't it?
Yeah, they relocated down by the bus station and then, went under different ownership after the guy had that unfortunate fallout on the north side of Peoria and just wasn't run very well. I think it's gone.
They closed it out. City closed it down.
Yeah.
Well, another one of our great community assets. That's Ray LaHood.
Got his St. Jude shirt on and everything.
Yeah, there he is.
Terry gets a donut. Good morning, Ray.
Because you never share them with her.
Never.
And I know she'll share them with you.
In other Major League Baseball, the Blue Jays beat the Giants 8-6. The Orioles 5-3 over the Rays. The Angels 8-2 over the Phillies. White Sox on a streak 7-2 over Pittsburgh. Yankees 4-2 over the Braves, and the Padres just hammered the Nationals 8-1. The Mets over Cincinnati 3-2. The Royals 7-4 over the Marlins, and the Guardians 8-2 over the Athletics. Other than that, it was kind of a slow sports weekend, which is probably why Mr. Meisinger wanted to go on vacation, so he knew I could handle the light duty.
Yes. Well, it worked out wonderful. And there you have sports. Anything else?
No, but if you want to talk about Wyatt Earp before we get former secretary on the phone here, I pulled up the website. It was actually a local historian. Let me get her name right. Dr. Victoria Loberg authored the book Peoria's Bad Habits from Wyatt Earp Through the Woodruff Years.
Dr. Loberg. Yeah.
And Loberg claims that there were a few different versions of Earp's arrest. He and his brother were tending bar in downtown Peoria. But before Big Al's. This is on the corner, believe it or not, of just down the street from where I grew up, Washington and Hamilton Boulevard. So if you're familiar with that area, it's where the old jail was.
Yeah.
Right, that Ann Lane made famous. by
Yeah, the
doing
old jail
live
is there on
shot down there.
Hamilton,
Right.
right off the.
Shadow Inn under what was his name? Had a big tavern in Washington near Hamilton.
Don't recall.
The Blue Shadow.
Yeah, Blue Shadow Inn.
Oh yeah,
His name is on the tip of my tongue.
yeah.
Well, he escaped being arrested in Missouri in 1871, so long before Caterpillar was here.
Mhm.
He ended up in Peoria, where his brother Virgil was working as a bartender at the time. Earp became an infamous character in Peoria. He lived in Jane's Haspel's brothel in Washington and Hamilton, which was then the city's red light district. That
Mhm.
eventually
one
moved.
of those.
That moved further west
I don't know anything about those.
by what they call Aiken Alley, because I guess she didn't take aspirin.
On Prairie Alley.
Earp and his brother Morgan were arrested multiple times in Peoria for keeping and being found in a house of ill fame. So he
Oh,
was,
you can't do that.
And then later on, he got arrested for running a riverboat that was converted to a brothel. So they said you can't do this on the city. So he
Wow.
took it to
So
the
he
river.
took it to the river.
Yeah.
The floating.
Yes.
Yeah.
I got it. You didn't need to end it. Yeah, right.
So he went west, came back to Peoria because he made so much money here. And then he became a lawman out west with his brothers, and obviously the shootout at the OK Corral became famous, and a lot of stories on it. But yeah, he spent quite a few years here in Peoria.
And
with
what
his
was their
brothers.
bar that their Earp Slurp? What was the name of the?
Does not say
have
which bar they tended, but they evidently had a heavy hand on the till because they were both arrested for taking more money than they made.
Well,
That was the way Peoria used to be. I mean, back in the 1800s, you came here. It was a riverboat town, so a lot of traffic coming from
Lot of
Chicago
gambling.
and St. Louis. A
Lot
lot
of
of gambling. You could literally get off the riverboat at the foot of Main Street or Hamilton and walk a couple of blocks and have restaurants, bars, brothels, hotels.
A lot of booze.
Get back on, go down to the
7
next Beardstown. I think was the next big stop on the river. Believe it or not. But yeah, so that's Wyatt Earp's history in Peoria, courtesy of historian, let me get her name right, Dr. Victoria Loberg, as reported by our buddy Tim Shelley over WCBU.
Yeah. Was the author a Peorian?
Yes.
Yeah.
And her husband.
Remember the name?
Yeah, no, Vicky.
Yeah.
I know, and her husband was also a doctor, Dr. Loberg.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's since passed. But,
Donut bites, Ray.
yeah.
Yes, and they're nice and fresh. Thank
You've
you.
outdone yourself. Thank you.
Good morning, Ray. Thanks for coming in. And thanks for the donut holes.
Yeah, thanks.
Well, we wanted to talk to you and see what's on your mind about what's happening in the political scene, whether it's Washington, D.C. or Peoria, Illinois, or Springfield or Cook County.
Well, you don't want to talk about Cook County.
What's the hot political subject today?
Yeah, I think that this is the last week for Congress to be in session. They take the month of August off to give time to members of Congress who have families to take vacations. And it's also very hot in Washington, so the tradition is to get out of town when the heat comes. But the point that I'm going to make here is that I think yesterday, or on the 20th of July, which was yesterday, was the 6th month of Donald Trump's administration. And he has, I believe, 3 major accomplishments that he talked about during his campaign. He's removed thousands of illegals that were here in the country and sent them back to the country from which they came or other countries. He's passed the big, beautiful bill, and he campaigned on the idea of tax cuts and more money for middle and lower income people. And he pretty much single-handedly got that passed with John Thune, the majority leader in the Senate, and Speaker Johnson. And number 3, a little bit incomplete, but on the way are the tariffs that he spoke out so vociferously about during the campaign. And he's put tariffs on every major country that we trade with. And the last major report of the economy is not slipping dramatically. The tariffs have had little or no impact. Unemployment is down. Um, there are an excess of jobs for those people that want to work. The economy seems to be doing very well. Um, for those people who watch these things, the price of eggs have gone down.
I know I bought a dozen yesterday, and as I reached for it, another guy was reaching for a carton, and he says, "Boy, they sure have made eggs affordable once again, haven't they?"
Right.
A complete stranger said he was so happy he got 2 boxes.
Yeah. And the proof of the fact that Trump's adversaries have nothing else to talk about, the Jeffrey Epstein matter has taken over everything on every cable news channel, and Trump has his own social media platform, so he's trying to, put his word out. But once the Epstein matter is resolved, which I think it will be soon, hopefully President Trump will get credit for being able to accomplish 3 very big things that he talked about during his campaign.
Do I
6
remember
months.
that as a result of the tariffs, the United States has received $64 billion.
I haven't seen the figure, but I'm
Yeah.
sure
I mean,
it's
it's
a lot of
just
money.
the opposite of what was predicted. That it's
Yeah.
really been
Yeah,
a cash haul
yeah, that's
for
right.
this country.
Yeah, no, that's right. So I think for those of us that have followed politics, which it seems as though most people, a lot of people that listen to your show, Roger, do, this been quite an extraordinary 6 months for President Trump and his administration, and the Congress. Give Congress its due. I mean, people are always criticizing Congress for not doing anything, but that's not the case during the last 6 months, and President Trump deserves the lion's share of the credit. In my opinion, he not only controls his administration, he controls Congress. He helped Speaker Johnson get elected, and John Thune has turned out to be an extraordinarily gifted, talented majority leader in the Senate. And he's the next generation. He and Speaker Johnson are the next generation of leaders in Congress. They really are.
John is a big, tall, looks like a muscular fella. And on the other hand, Speaker Johnson's a little fella, isn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, John Thune, I served with him in the House. He was a very good basketball player.
I was going to say,
yeah,
he's a
and
good guy, yeah.
and
What
and-
state? South Dakota?
yes, yeah. He beat Tom Daschle, who was then majority leader, which is the job that John Thune has now.
Isn't that something?
Yeah.
Turning around. I don't want to pick on the Democrats, but they really have a problem.
Yes, you
I
do.
Well, I was trying to be diplomatic, but that ended that. Thanks, Ray. But they really have a problem because this radical, and this guy is a radical. I mean, they call him a socialist, but some of the ideas he has, and I'm not accusing him of being a communist or member of the Communist Party, but they're Marxism when you talk about rent controls and
Who are we talking about?
government,
Okay.
Zoran Mondani,
Donnie.
and talking about defunding police and opening government-run grocery stores. I mean, that smacks of communism, not socialism.
Yeah, I think Democrats are going to be very happy that the election for mayor of New York is in November and not a year from November. So
So that would make them nervous.
yeah, no, that would make them
But
nervous.
do you think this guy is going to impact? Because they've had the meetings, including with Jeffries, and they don't come out saying, this guy's an oddball. We don't need him leading. I mean, they have no comment at all other than AOC, who has endorsed him, along with Chief Wahoo.
I think that the fact that they have not supported him, have not endorsed him, tells you everything you need to know. They know that he is not what the Democratic Party is all about or wants to be about, particularly in the off-year elections. And we'll see how it plays out. He's a viable candidate.
Oh, sure. He's leading by 10 points over was it Eric Adams and Cuomo.
Yeah, I think the fact it's a three-way race, each of these people has their own lane. The one thing that you can't discount is that Mondami has not only his lane, but his people are energized. And maybe Adams and Cuomo are not as energized, but maybe they will be now.
But not typical of radical movements and radical leaders. The people behind them are gung ho.
Yeah, a lot of young people are activated in his camp, and they will turn out and vote, and it will be up to Adams and Cuomo to.
Do you think it could be crazy enough and divided enough that a Republican could slip in there? You think?
Well, there are probably not. No, the answer is no.
Okay. Absolutely not.
I don't know. He is surging. He's from 2% to 12%.
I do think it would be like saying, could a Republican get elected mayor in Chicago? No,
Yeah.
it's impossible.
Yeah.
The votes just aren't there.
Yeah.
Perry Como sang about that when he sang, "It's impossible."
It's impossible.
Yeah.
I think that
Impossible dream.
I think that it would be foolish for Cuomo and Adams to take this guy for granted. He's a serious candidate, and he has very serious supporters.
Does he have
And
money? Does he have money?
in this instance, I don't know if you need money. What he has is a grassroots organization. When you have a grassroots organization, these people are going to walk over hot coals for this guy,
Yeah.
and they're going to go vote. The answer is he probably doesn't have much. He's not going to have the money that an Adams or Cuomo, and the business community is going to come out of the woodwork for one or the other, Adams or Cuomo, and with the money. But Cuomo spent millions of dollars and lost the primary to this guy,
I know.
and he had no money. What he had was a grassroots organization and social media. You cannot discount social media today. It is extraordinary.
Yeah. And the other thing that he didn't have was people energized to go vote, because only 13% of registered voters voted. And then they have that crazy system of voting on a scoring system that
Ranked.
rank voting.
Yeah. But Roger, that's not unusual. I mean, look at the mayoral election in Peoria. These off-year elections that don't have a president at the top or a presidential candidate, very low turnout.
Yeah,
I mean, look at the turnout for the last mayoral election between Rita Ali and John Kelly. I don't even think 20% of the people voted.
22.
I ran in
22%.
I ran in that same
I think
race. There was 60,000 registered voters, and 3,000 people voted in the race that I was in. Say, seriously?
Right.
Nobody cares. They just don't care.
Yeah.
No, and they should. I mean,
they should.
well,
Yeah.
there's these local elections are very, very important.
Yeah.
Are we fooling anybody by calling them nonpartisan?
Yeah.
Of course not.
Yeah, we all know that.
I mean, if you look at the contributors to John Kelly's campaign, it was the business community. It was
Who's the money?
pretty much all the major Republicans in Central Illinois, and Rita certainly didn't have as much money, and
She still won.
and she won.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you again why she won. She had a good grassroots organization. She really did.
That's why when you see somebody like this New York guy coming up, he can't be considered a major national threat because he doesn't have the organization. You see a lot of people, particularly in media, will grab onto somebody. Oh boy, this guy's person or this gal, whatever the case may be. But you just say no way can they win because they don't have the grassroots organization
Right.
that is so necessary.
Yeah. You know, the other thing that people don't understand, particularly a lot of these young people that are involved in this race, in New York, a majority of the money, almost all of the money for New York City comes from Albany, the state capital. So you have to have a relationship with the governor and the legislature. And the subway system in New York City is run by the governor. And most people don't realize
I
that,
didn't know that.
yeah, a lot of these services are provided and the money are provided by the legislators in Albany. So if you don't have the relationship with Albany, and and many of the things he's proposing are just completely
Nutty.
yeah. Okay.
Nuts.
Thank you for finishing it. Thank you for being my spokesman.
Hotel close-up.
Again. Yeah. Continue, but Bruce was bring you up to date on this. And our news at the bottom of the hour brought to you by Bob Manning. You know Bob, don't you, Ray?
Very well.
I know, and you knew his father quite well as well. He is Senior Vice President Financial Advisor. You know him. He's with the Grandview Capital Group at Morgan Stanley in Peoria. For investment needs, check out Bob Manning. He's available at this phone number, 309-671-4653. Morgan Stanley Smith Barney, LLC, member SIPC. Terry has our news headlines.
A rash of shootings in Peoria over the weekend. One of those sent a 24-year-old man by car to a local hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. He reportedly was wounded near the intersection of Sterling and Forest Hill. Gunplay early Saturday resulted in a woman taking bullets to both feet in the area of Star and Westmoreland. A few hours later, another 24-year-old shooting victim arrived at the emergency room of OSF St. Francis Medical Center with a gunshot wound to the arm. No arrests have been made. Peoria Proud held its River City Pride Festival Saturday morning. Despite some rain, the festival went on as scheduled at the riverfront, celebrating the city's LGBTQ community. The 76th Annual Heart of Illinois Fair also went on, though some who attended thought the event should have been canceled. No carnival, no people. The grounds at Expo Gardens were empty. The Heart of Illinois Fair is now just a memory of what was. The folks in Chillicothe had a good time last week as they celebrated their sweet corn festival. Unlike the Peoria Fair, lots of people enjoyed sweet corn and other good food. Some good news on the national scene as officials in Kerrville, Texas, site of the deadly flood, report only 3 people remain missing. At one time, 160 were counted as missing from Kerr County alone. Sadly, 135 lost their lives. The Director of Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, has released some 100 pages of documents she says reveal secret plans by President Obama and members of his intelligence agencies to undermine the presidency of Donald Trump during the early days of his first term. The former Democrat says the evidence is overwhelming and is nothing short of historic. Gabbard said Obama engaged in a conspiracy days before he was to leave office in what was termed Russian collusion. After 4 years of investigation, it's now known as the Russian hoax. An off-duty officer with the U.S. Customs and Border Protection Agency was shot in the face by an illegal immigrant during an attempted armed robbery in New York City. Though wounded, the 42-year-old officer shot his attacker, who was arrested. Court documents show the criminal immigrant had been released 4 times by judges despite deportation orders. The controversial mayor of Los Angeles, Karen Bass, says the city will be unable to rebuild after the wildfires she failed to prevent without immigrants. Bass said her city is a city of immigrants, and without them, work will be difficult. Those are the headlines, Roger.
All right, now a check of the weather presented by Matt Wall, CPA with Gordon Stockman Wall. For more than 40 years, Matt has been handling tax returns and other financial matters. He does it for individuals and businesses, large and small. His phone number, 309-692-4030.
Extreme heat watch. It's going to be terrible, and all the way through Thursday. Partly sunny today, slight chance of afternoon rain. High in the 80s, but it's going to feel in the 90s because of all the humidity. Tonight, partly cloudy, possible showers, low 72 tomorrow. Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday in the 90s. Right now, it's 72 at the Wazoo. Roger?
And if you're just joining us, we're talking with former Congressman and Secretary of Transportation Ray LaHood. And I wondered, since you had served as Secretary of Transportation, what you thought of um, Mr. Duffy, who has that position right now, and he's indicated that there's a need for a complete overhaul of the communication system. Your thoughts?
The air traffic control system at major airports is antiquated. It's old. It's actually older than the equipment we're using here in this studio.
That's
Believe it or
old,
not.
man.
Oh my God.
So you know what I mean by
Yeah.
old.
Yes, I do. I've been there, done that.
These squirrels get hungry
And
running through that.
and the big beautiful bill included $12 billion over the next 4 years to fix up, to improve, to add new equipment in Newark, which controls that airspace in Chicago and in the major hubs around the country. Very, very antiquated equipment. We have very well trained controllers. It's a very hard job, and it requires 3 years of training before you can be a controller. Some of it's
3 years. Wow.
3 years. Some of it in classrooms. Some of it actually in what they call the TRACONs, which are the facilities. And so they're really trying to find the solutions to this old antiquated equipment, and part of it is money. Well, they have the money now. They have the technology, and it's a matter of putting it in the facilities. Flying is still the safest form of transportation anywhere in the world, bar none. More than a car, more than a bus, more than a train, it's just flying is safe. But we have to have updated equipment, and that's what the new secretary was able to convince Congress of, and that's i.e. the $12 billion over 4 years. And it's something that we worked on when we were there, but we never could get all the money we needed, and now they have it.
You know, you've done a lot of flying during your career as Secretary of Transportation, so you know the airlines. This doesn't put you a lot of pressure on you, but what's the number one airline?
When I was Secretary of Transportation, it was Delta Airlines. But I think some of these regional airlines are very good too. I would count Allegiant as a very, very good.
Really?
They've bought all new planes. They go point to point. For example, they've enhanced our airport here dramatically. When people go to the airport and see all of these cars parked, it's because Allegiant flies 3, 4, 5, 6 flights a day in and out. But the major airlines still dominate, and I think United and American and Delta, all very, very good airlines. I'm not going to mention the ones that I wouldn't fly.
How about Southwest? I always thought Southwest was
a very good airline.
A good airline.
Very good airlines.
Where'd you rank Ozark?
Frezo.
Yeah.
In the grade.
Yeah. But you know what? It served a purpose for a while.
Of course it did. And for communities like Peoria, we had a direct flight to Washington, D.C.
In Ozark.
Yeah. Ozark.
Rochester, Minnesota.
Is that right? I didn't know that. You know, one time I handled the marketing for a guy named Bruce Carter.
Yeah.
I don't know if you knew Bruce.
Well,
I went up to the
he did a great job at the airport.
Yes, he
Very
did.
good job.
Anyway, they started an airline in Peoria, but I can't remember the guy's name or the airline company. You remember it? He was flying flights to New York City and also Washington D.C.
Okay.
But it didn't make it.
Yeah.
And I remember he arrived, and he looked like he had slept all night on one of his flights.
It's a very expensive business. You're paying pilots a good salary. The aircraft alone, almost all are purchased through Boeing, and they're the major airline manufacturer, and it's not an inexpensive business, and it takes a lot of know-how to run an airline
Yeah.
and to make it profitable.
Gene Olson has done a good job as director of airports here in Peoria.
I
hasn't he?
think he's done a terrific job. I really do. And I think we've got to be very proud of our airport. We have one of the finest facilities. He's been able to attract, now you can go direct just about any major hub in the country. You can fly on American to Dallas. You can fly on United to Denver. You can go on Allegiant to all the major cities in Florida and
In
include
Arizona.
yeah, and Mesa, Arizona, and Las Vegas,
Yeah.
and Denver. So
And Charlotte for
and
on
Charlotte.
American, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
They got a new one now down in Bloomington, Breeze,
yeah. I don't know anything about
or
them.
no, Springfield.
Oh.
Springfield or Bloomington, I can't remember. Breeze
Yeah.
Airways.
Yeah,
They tried.
Breeze Airline.
Yeah, they were going to do it before the right before the pandemic, and so they kind of delayed it. But they have opened it up now. There's Breeze Airlines.
yeah.
Well, we're very fortunate not only here in Peoria, but Bloomington is out
That's right.
as well. That's a hub for
That's
a
right.
number of flights.
Yeah.
And we're, the great thing about Peoria too is right next door is Air National Guard, and they've got that huge runway. So, whenever the president's within 3 states, Air Force One lands in Peoria because we have the runway to accommodate it.
Yes.
And so keeping the Air National Guard out there, and the proliferation of pilots that
Rusty
come out of
Ballard.
that.
Yeah, and then I'm glad you brought that up because the leadership of the 182nd historically has been outstanding.
Outstanding.
For Corky Robertson's son, Colonel, later General
Yeah.
Robertson, followed by McDonough, a super nice guy, and Colonel Ballard. Right now, we've had
Right.
great leadership.
Very much so. And it hasn't been easy. When I was in Congress, we fought very hard to keep.
Yeah, they wanted to close it down.
Yeah,
but
of course. Yeah, tried to save money, but
now that's the time when Republicans and Democrats work together. 'Cause
Yeah,
I know
yeah.
Dick Durbin was
Right,
very
that's right.
vocal in support, as well as
That's right.
you and Darren, and
right.
put together some high pressure
That's right.
full court press in Washington, and they changed their mind.
Well, the military base closing is tough for everybody, right? Because everybody wanted to cut the defense budget, but not in my backyard.
Yeah,
And we
yeah.
ended up closing the one down in Champaign
Mhm.
or Monmouth. But yeah, I mean, just huge because those are jobs, obviously, for local folks. But not everybody had the assets that we had with the Air National Guard and the, I don't know if it's the Hercules that they flew or whatever, but about every pilot that flew those planes was trained in Peoria.
Didn't know that.
Yeah.
Ray, what can Republicans do? Because if you look at the congressional district boundaries in the state of Illinois, it is probably one of the best illustrations to teach young people about gerrymandering. I mean, the maps that have been drawn by the party that's in power in Illinois, and that's the Democrat Party, is just unbelievable. Darren's district looks like something that was drawn by someone who had too much to drink.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's what you say is true, but ironically, today, the Texas legislature is meeting in special session because they have a majority of the votes, the Republicans do, and they're going to redraw the congressional maps to add more Republicans in Texas,
So,
and they already outnumber 2-1 the Democrats in Congress right now, but because they have the majority,
so what you're saying is both parties do it.
both parties are doing it, have
Okay.
done it, and
Okay.
will continue to do it as long as Supreme Court lets them do it.
Yeah.
Hey Ray, excuse me, but a lot of local news here. Did you make it to the fair this year? Did you make it? That's a sad deal, right? Did you make it?
Well, it's disappointing,
Yeah.
really, that. But I guess it's a money issue. I guess
Yeah,
the
Did you,
fact.
what
do
the-
you
so
remember
what the-
going years
Of
ago?
course, yeah. Well, no, it's a long-standing tradition. It's like the Christmas thing that Roger brought back
Well,
a
no,
few years ago.
Ray LaHood did it. I just
Yeah,
heard his briefcase.
Well, you help with that, but maybe given more time, some of us could have been helpful. I mean,
I think you're right, Ray.
The
Yeah.
fact is, they need money and they need attendance, and it's dropped off. And a few years ago, the state fair was the same way, but they put a lot of money into the state fairgrounds. They attracted the music
names.
artists.
Big names.
Yeah,
That's
and
the
that's
key.
the attraction.
Yeah, that's right.
That's what pays the, at the fair gate. That's what pays the salaries of the people who run the
No,
fair.
you're exactly right, because we all remember when we had a free grandstand show, and we
Right.
ticked off some of the names in our news this morning about everybody from Bob Hope to Captain and Tennille and
Ray Stevens.
so Ray Stevens and Roy Clark and Royce Elliott. I mean, locally, free grandstand. And, Peoria loves free, and Central Illinois. But when they suddenly couldn't afford any longer the big names and the free grandstand, that was the big draw. It's kind of like selling eggs $1 a dozen. That's a loss leader, but you get people in the store and they get the eggs, but to buy other things. Well, when you lose a free grandstand show, what's the motivation for people to go to the fair? And then when you lose the carnival, you've lost all motivation unless you had the cow that you wanted to show off or a horse.
I think when Sam the Candyman died, I think that was probably the.
2 for you and 2 for me.
Yeah.
2 for you and 2 for me.
I think that was the.
You remember that?
I'll tell you this.
John.
It's a heck. I don't know when they gave up on the fair, but it's going to be a lot easier to put a housing development out there when you don't have 40,000 people waiting to get in to Expo Gardens,
Yeah.
as opposed to have people saying, "Remember what it was."
Yeah.
Well,
Because now you're only going to have the neighbors complaining, right? As
I mean,
opposed to everybody else.
let's face it. With the advent of places like Disney, and not everybody can afford to go to Disney, but a lot of people do.
And there's a direct flight from Peoria.
They make the sacrifice to do it. Six Flags, easy drive, St. Louis or north, and people can get all the entertainment they want in one day and be back home. And then younger people, the county fair is not an attraction, and as we have lost our agricultural opportunities that you were talking about to show your horse or show your cow or
the pig or the hog.
Yeah, or whatever.
When they quit marching the elephants up the street and they had monkeys, and it just went to hell after that.
Yeah. However, gentlemen and lady, we still have regional shows, neighboring shows. The Turkey Day game event festival at Tremont is always
Tremont
a
Turkey
huge.
Fest, Morton Pumpkin Fest.
Those are
Pekin
fun.
Marigold Festival.
And those are,
And
those are fun.
Chillicothe had an event. They used to be called the Claude Allen days. I don't know if you remember. Bill Prather and his family
Sweet Corn Festival.
were
Corn
a
boil,
part of that.
if you will.
And then they've since changed it to Sweet Corn
Sweet Corn
Festival.
Festival.
Well, look,
as
the
well.
reason those are successful because people in the local community volunteer their time,
Exactly.
and
Yeah.
there's not a lot of money involved. There's a lot of hard work involved, and a lot of sweat equity, and a lot of time, and it means a lot to these communities. When you have a county fair, you don't have that same kind of groundswell.
No, you're right. And yet, at one time, we all remember with great fondness all the wonderful Heart of Illinois shows that took place with Carnival and, as we said, Bill's Lemonade. And I remember when WRL would broadcast during the day from the fairgrounds.
Oh yeah.
Remember Willie Nelson stumbling out of his travel trailer.
Well, he does
Go
that
play.
wherever he entertains. He stumbles out, and a cloud of weed hovers over his shoulder, and it doesn't affect his singing one bit.
Yeah,
Might affect it.
Bobo the clown, the guy in the cage as you threw the ball and dunk him in, was always
Yeah.
right next to the beer tent out there. Yeah.
Did you ever go to the guy who would guess your weight?
Yeah.
This guy was remarkable. I decided to challenge him, and he was so close to my weight that I swore that under the sawdust was a weight, and it showed the scope somewhere near where he was. That's how good he was.
Yeah, no, it's pretty phenomenal.
Yeah, and I love the taffy pool. I bought taffy every time I went to the fair, a big bag of it, and my dentist loved it.
Well, there was a time where people would wait. You got free admission after 10 o'clock,
and people would really literally line up at the expo gate for 10 o'clock to go in and buy the fair food.
Mhm.
You know, the tenderloins and the fried
Yeah.
Snickers
Tastes
and the
different, right? The corn dog at the fair tastes different than it's the hot dog at
At the
Rick's, right?
ballpark.
and you
Yeah.
could only eat it once a year, right? Because your
Yeah.
cholesterol would be so
Oh,
high.
yeah.
But they
Terrible
would,
food.
you know, I remember several guys that were working third shift and they'd run out there and,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
get the food and bring it back to the
Absolutely.
Well, that's interesting because I remember one year my wife said she wanted something, I don't know, a pork chop sandwich or whatever the case may be. I drove out to the parking lot, went to the front gate and said, look, I'm here to get a couple of sandwiches. Can you let me go get them and not charge me admission? And they said, sure.
Yeah.
And I went to the tent, got the pork chop sandwiches, maybe corn dog, I don't know what, and came back, thanked the guys, got in my car, and went home.
Oh, yeah.
Get on the tilt-a-whirl on your way.
I would get on the tilt-a-whirl if you paid for it, Ray. I was never one for the big
Oh, no.
rides.
No, those things are, you know,
All they're designed is to make you upset and throw up.
and 2 hours later, they're on the highway on a truck. It's like,
Yeah.
wait a minute, I was right. No.
What used to bother me was watch the carnies who put it together. And I thought,
Little bent
my
game.
safety and my future rests on these guys for crying out loud. No, was I going to get on any
You
of
did
those.
not want to see the guys behind the curtain.
Yeah,
That's for sure.
No.
That is for sure.
It was a challenge. But you're right, Ray. It takes a lot of people working together. And when we lost the grandstand shows, that hurt in last year. They couldn't recruit a carnival because they felt they couldn't make enough money to pay their workers and the time that they're. So you lose a carnival. That's I would say that's at least 50% of the draw. The Pumpkin Festival is a big event, and they have all kinds of carnival rides.
Yeah.
In the same way with the Tremont Turkey Festival.
I got a question for Ray because I'm sure he follows this more than I do. But going back to your time as Secretary of Transportation, did they, after that mishap in Washington last year, did they finally ban the military flights around
Yes, they banned those.
DCA?
flights. Yeah, a few days afterwards.
I mean, I remember, and you flew in there a whole lot more than I did, but looking out the window and seeing these Chinook helicopters and
Yeah.
everything flying up and down the river, and you know, you picture the guy, the air traffic controller on a 6x8 screen, and it's right outside your window. I mean, it's got to look like the same dot. And they
Yeah.
and almost every time you go in there, you'd see those flights coming in from
Yeah,
Andrews.
they're
or
banned
whatever.
now, thankfully.
Did you follow any of the follow-up reports? Because my understanding is that one of the pilots and they had two pilots on the helicopter, apparently the military helicopter, ignored the warning. And did you hear that as part of one of the reports
I
that came in?
haven't seen any of those reports,
Yeah,
Roger.
okay.
Yeah.
When you look at it, it was a tragedy, and anything you can do to prevent future mishaps, why go for it? For that matter.
Absolutely.
You never did get an overview opinion of Sean Duffy's work as Secretary of Transportation, or is it too early?
You know, he's.
Yeah,
I
that's it.
think he was just. The president asked him to take over NASA, so he's a pretty busy fella now. I think he's doing very well. He's got some good people helping him, and he's got some big challenges ahead, no doubt about it. But I think he's doing very well.
And
Well,
as
I can
the
tell.
transportation secretary, of course, you're involved in anything that flies or floats or anything like that.
Anything that moves.
Tell us about your visit to Area 51.
Well, I'd have to kill you if I did that.
Yeah. That reminds me of a gentleman, you know who he is, Cundiff, apparently has a son who's an FBI agent. And he said to ask his son about a certain incident. And he said, Dad, if I tell you about it, I'll have to shoot you. Right. And you like that allegiance to your oath of office.
Yeah,
For that
that's
matter.
right.
I know I've asked you this before on a personal basis. Do you miss being in Washington,
Not
D.C.?
one bit.
Yeah.
No, I love being in Florida.
You do go there every now and then.
Once in a while I do. Yeah, I was there maybe a month or so ago, and sometimes I get asked to do things there. But I love Peoria and
Yeah.
love being involved in a few things. And
Well, one of the things you're involved with is Bradley University. You are a trustee, and
right,
I want to commend you and the president of the university, Jim Shadden. We are seeing spot announcements on television. We are learning more about the importance of Bradley University
Right.
in our community. That's never been done before.
No, I
That's
know it.
good to see.
And that's what happens when you hire a local person
Amen.
who understands how important Bradley is to the community. And Bradley contributes millions of dollars to our community, our local economy. But more importantly, it's just has such a great reputation, and Jim is working very hard on increasing enrollment, which is very important, reducing our deficit, and he's going to improve the campus and improve the entrance, working with the mayor to improve the entrance along Main Street
Good.
and along University.
Badly needed.
Bradley, a couple of years ago, bought the Avantes building. Jim has some very good plans for that, which he'll be announcing very soon. And he's planning to have a complete new entrance and really try and use some opportunities with the city to improve Main Street and the entrance to Bradley University, and also fix up the dorms and the student center. So lots of plans in the works. He's got a lot of support in the community, and I think he'll really take Bradley to a new level, which is what we need.
You know what I don't understand is, there are suits and countersuits over many of the Ivy League schools and their failure to protect Jewish students. And you learn that they've got endowments and receiving grants from the federal government, endowments in the millions upon millions of dollars. And you look at schools like Millikan and Decatur or Bradley University, and they struggle with their endowments. Have you ever wondered why the government gives so much money to Ivy League schools and seems to shun schools like Bradley and Millikan and whatever
I
else?
mean, the truth is that these schools are receiving money to do research. They're receiving money to attract certain types of students, and Bradley has received some of that, not near the amount that maybe Yale, Harvard, Brown, some of these other schools have. But we've done okay. And the reason that these Ivy League schools receive so much money is because they go after it and they develop programs and they hire professors that do the research that can get the money to come in to do these research projects. And so they really they make a full-time job of going after federal dollars.
Would it be possible or feasible or worth investigating the possibility of Bradley hooking up with the Northern Research Laboratory to work on research projects and
Absolutely.
so forth?
Yeah, Jim has talked to the Ag Lab that I call the Ag Lab.
Yeah.
There's some very smart
Really
people
great.
there. Yeah, very smart people. They're doing great agricultural research.
They sure are.
Yeah.
One's under the microscope of being eliminated and closed.
Yeah.
But again, our legislators
Right.
stepped up, both Republicans and Democrats, to keep it open.
Yeah.
And obviously, I think he's got a good relationship with OSF, which is very important.
Yeah.
They're
No.
our big employer now.
Yeah. And we've got some very strong health programs at Bradley that are completely tied with OSF.
It's very important.
So Ray, growing up, I lived on Maplewood a couple of times and Elmwood, right across the street from the field house, both on the south side of Maine and the north side. And literally a block away was the big WTVP tower. The signal was so strong, sometimes it would bleed over 31 and 25, because you only had a couple of stations back then. And then WCBU, the campus radio station, CBU, campus of Bradley University. How in the hell did they let that go to Bloomington?
Gary, one of the previous presidents let it happen over the objection of people like myself and others. I think it was a terrible mistake, and I think Jim Shadid, on one of his lists of priorities, is going to eventually try and get it back. It was a terrible mistake. It's a travesty. It should never be. I mean, it's a people think it's a ISU station, and it's not.
But they manage it.
They
Correct.
manage
Yeah.
They manage
They
it.
manage WCBU.
Yeah. And supposedly, I never heard him say this, made a commitment to keep all of the people that were there. And a few weeks after they took it over, they fired everybody. Some very good news people. One of them, a very good friend of ours. And
Lee Wenger.
yeah, Lee. Lee was tremendous on there. And there
and
was no reason to do that. None. And I was completely opposed to that. I fought for it at the board meeting, but could not prevail.
Good. You know, that's one of the few times I've heard you've lost.
Well, we're still trying to win.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, I think
the fat lady is not
Yeah, yeah,
sung
fine.
yet.
But I think that might go back to your point about having a non-local there, because those of us that grew up in Peoria know just so many people that went into radio and TV that got their start at Bradley, and they've got the radio and TV program, they've got the Steiner Institute, and when that went away, I'm just like, this doesn't make sense.
You are right.
It was my first
John.
on air job was WCBU.
There you go.
See, and you know, I'm prehistoric. We didn't have WCBU then and WTVP. Hank Van der Heyden was the radio teacher, and we did auditions in a tape recorder.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
those were prehistoric, you know, big thrill.
Oh yeah.
Okay, sure, Roger, turn the tape recorder on. And instead of working at a live radio station, but to Hank Van der Heyden's credit, he got me a job at WSIV in Beacon, and that's where I earned my spurs in
Sure.
radio. And later on at WTVH, I don't know if you remember that. That was a radio station owned by the Journal Star at one time in Creve Coeur, where Channel 19 was located, 500 North Stewart in Creve Coeur. But I know you're working on hopefully getting WCBU back to
Right. We
uh,
hope
uh,
we hope we can do it.
so keep up the good work.
Yeah.
Well, we wrap things up. We have hour number 3 coming up with all the latest news, weather, and sports. Ray LaHood is our guest, and if he decides to stick around, we'll have him do the weather or maybe a news
I'm not-
headline or two.
I'm happy to talk about politics or anything else. I'm not doing the
Oh,
weather.
you got a good radio voice. You got a good radio voice for that. You're listening to Breakfast with Roger and Friends on WAZU FM 90.7 in Peoria, Illinois. And we're also on YouTube. Good morning to all those watching and listening to the program on that media. We have more coming up on WAZU, and we're so happy you are part of our program this morning. Stay tuned. All right, our news on this beautiful Monday morning, the 21st of July. Our news and weather brought to you this morning by Kathy Reynolds, a brilliant real estate thinking about selling or buying a new home. She's available 24/7 to help you. You can reach Kathy Reynolds at 309-696-2162. Let's begin with the weather and Terry.
Well, Ray won't tell you, but I will. Extreme heat through Thursday. It's going to be absolutely terrible. Partly sunny today, slight chance for afternoon rain. The high will be in the 80s, but it's going to seem like it's the 90s because of the humidity tonight. Partly cloudy, possible showers, low 72. That'll seem cold. Tomorrow, sunny and hot, high near 90, heat index of 102. Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday in the 90s. We're going to talk about this crazy weather at 8:30 in about a half hour or so with Kyle Varnold. Right now, it's 72 degrees at the Wazoo.
What did you say? What will seem cold at what temperature?
72.
That will seem cold.
It's going to be cold. I'm
If
telling you,
you
it's going to
check
be in
your
hundreds.
blood circulation in
What's
your
going to
legs.
seem like 100 and some degrees for the next 3, 4, 5.
70 has never felt
The
cold.
spit of the devil is on it.
69 maybe.
It's horrible out there.
Well, let's get into the news,
All right, let's do that.
we'll hear from Kyle Varnold to find out what color the skies
Well,
are.
it was a different color. When I got up this morning, I don't know if it's still like that, but it was a different color out there.
That's what you're saying, and
It was
Terry
scary.
said yes,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
John
I
he
thought
said
maybe we
yes.
had a nuclear explosion or something.
Well,
It
that's
just
what I
really
was
weird.
worried
It
about.
did feel like
For
the
that
Twilight
matter.
Zone a bit.
Yeah.
It looked very weird. I kept looking for Rod Serling.
You know, when choosing a home health care agency, you know it's an important decision for you and or a loved one. That's why we suggest you consider Spoon River Home Health Services. They've been serving Central Illinois folks for over 30 years with nurses, therapists, and home care assistants. You can get more information from Spoon River at 309-245-0723.
There were a rash of shootings in Peoria over the weekend. One of those sent a 24-year-old man by car to a local hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. He reportedly was wounded near the intersection of Sterling and Forest Hill.
Gunplay early Saturday resulted in a woman taking bullets to both feet in the area of Star and Westmoreland. A few hours later, another 24-year shooting victim arrived at the emergency room at OSF with gunshot wounds to her arm. No arrests have been made, but police say that the shot spotter alerted them to 34 shots that were fired. For history buffs, that's more than the number fired at the OK Corral in Tombstone, Arizona in 1881.
Peoria Proud held its River City Pride Festival Saturday morning. Despite the rain, the festival went on as scheduled at the riverfront, celebrating the city's LGBTQ community.
And the 76th Annual Heart of Illinois Fair also went on, though some who attended thought the event should have been canceled. No carnival, no people. The grounds at Expo Gardens were like a ghost town with barns and exhibit buildings closed, tighter than Fort Knox with unhappy vendors outnumbered by attendees. The Heart of Illinois Fair is now just a memory of what it once was.
The folks in Chillicothe had a good time last week as they celebrated their Sweet Corn Festival. Unlike the Peoria Fair, lots of people enjoyed sweet corn and other good food, especially on Saturday.
Some good news on the national scene as officials in Caryville, Texas, site of that deadly flood, report only 3 people now remain missing. At one time, there was 160 that were counted as missing in Kerr County alone. Sadly, 135 did lose their life.
The Director of Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, has released some 100 pages of documents she says reveal secret plans by President Obama and members of his intelligence agencies to undermine the presidency of Donald Trump during the early days of his first term. The former Democrat says the evidence is overwhelming and is nothing short of historic. Gabbard said Obama engaged in a conspiracy days before he was to leave office in what was termed Russian collusion. After 4 years of investigation, it's now known as the Russian hoax.
An off-duty officer with the U.S. Customs and Border Protection Agency was shot in the face by an illegal immigrant during an attempted armed robbery in New York City. Though wounded, the 42-year-old officer shot his attacker, who was then arrested. Court documents show the criminal immigrant had been released 4 times by judges despite deportation orders. Police are searching for his accomplice, apparently, so a judge can release him as well.
The controversial mayor of Los Angeles, Karen Bass, says the city will be unable to rebuild after the wildfires she failed to prevent without immigrants. Bass said her city is a city of immigrants, and without them, work will be difficult. Little has been done since the January fires.
Well, let's wrap up the news with a heartwarming story. A young teenage girl in Grapeville, Texas. She was complaining of a numb leg, fatigue, and dizziness. Her 18-year-old boyfriend insisted she go to the hospital and called for an ambulance. Turns out it was a wise decision. Katie Rangel was showing symptoms of a stroke. ER doctors were able to take quick action, preventing major medical consequences and possibly even her death. So congratulations to her medical team. And that's it, Roger, for the news.
All right, good job as usual. And now time for sports. Presentation of your hometown community banks division of Morton Community Bank, employee-owned, locally operated. You can still choose a hometown bank at hometownbanks.com, member FDIC. Sitting in for the vacationing John Meisinger is John Disharoon. John, what do you have?
Thank you, Roger. Well, Wilyer Abreu homered twice and drove in 3 runs, and the Boston Red Sox beat the Chicago Cubs 6-1 yesterday to avoid the series sweep. Alex Bregman also connected as Boston rallied after managing just 1 run in its first 2 games with the Cubs after the All-Star break. Garrett Crochet pitched 6 effective innings in his 4th consecutive win. Over in Phoenix, Eugenio Suarez homered twice for the 2nd consecutive day, and Merrill Kelly allowed 2 runs in 6 innings to help the Arizona Diamondbacks beat back the St. Louis Cardinals 5-3 on Sunday. Suarez has 6 multi-homer games this season, including a 4-homer game on April 26, and leads the majors with 20 home runs since June 1. He launched a 3-run drive-off starter, Miles Mikolas, in the 1st inning and had a solo shot in the 3rd. Other teams of local interest here, Abner Uribe retired Mookie Betts with the bases loaded for the final out, and the Milwaukee Brewers beat the Los Angeles Dodgers 6-5 on Sunday for their 10th straight victory. That puts Milwaukee and Chicago at the top of the Major League standings. Shohei Ohtani hit a 2-run homer for the Dodgers. They're never out of it, but Isaac Collins snapped a 6th-inning tie with a 2-run single as the Brewers finished 6-0 this season against the defending World Series champions. So Los Angeles can be beat. Over in Northern Ireland, Scotty Scheffler wins the British Open, or affectionately called the Open. Scheffler had all the time in the world to celebrate this last major title, carding a 68 on Sunday to cruise to a 4-stroke victory in the Open Championship at Royal Portrush. The outcome was never really in doubt on Sunday, as golf's #1 player finished at 17 under 267, delivering yet another dominant performance to win his 2nd major this year and grab the 3rd leg of his career Grand Slam. There just appears to be no slowing down Scotty Scheffler. I think he had 1 double bogey and came back and birdied the next hole. He went, I want to say, 70 holes without a bogey.
Wow.
And then carded a double. I mean, that for consistency,
That's pretty amazing, isn't
it's
it?
pretty
Yeah.
amazing. I mean, they're starting Tiger Talk with Scotty Scheffler.
Oh, really?
He's not, but his colleagues
But
on
the
the tour
fans
is like,
are,
this
yeah.
is this. I mean, the last 2 years,
He's a real deal.
he is the real deal.
And how old a guy is he? He's a young guy, right?
29 years old.
Wow.
29.
Good
years
for him.
old. In other Major League action, the Blue Jays defeated the Giants 8-6. The Orioles over the Rays 5-3. The Angels 8-2 over the Phillies. The White Sox defeated the Pirates 72. They're on a pretty good winning streak as well. The Yankees 4-2 over the Braves. The Padres 8-1 over the Nationals, and the Mets 3-2 over the Cincinnati Reds. The Royals out in Kansas City hat tip 7-4 over the Marlins, and the Guardians 8-2 over the Athletics. Other than that, a relatively slow sports weekend, with the exception of the Peoria Merchants.
Tell us about that.
So the Peoria Merchants won the regular season title in the Colonel League, I believe it is, over in Bloomington. Plays at the Corn Crib. Peoria's own Mike Olson is the president and general manager of the Peoria Merchants. It's a team for folks coming out of high school into college and in between collegiate semesters. It's not affiliated with any team, but these folks are recruited to play. And Mike and Clay Cantrell have put together just a hell of a team over there, and very competitive this year. Again, they won the regular season outright by probably 5 or 6 games, and then came in 2nd place in the championship. The way that league works is everybody, it's a round robin. So regardless of your regular season, there's a playoff, and all teams compete for the playoffs. So everybody still has a chance to win. And my understanding is they brought in some ringers.
Some ringers,
during the tournament. But Tegan Disharoon
So they
pitched
bet on this
the winning
game,
game.
too, huh?
I'm not sure if gambling is involved, but it's very competitive. And for an hour ride over to Bloomington, it's a very nice ballpark.
Oh,
You
it's
see some
ballpark,
competitive
yeah.
baseball, decent food. You can always get a great seat because it's just
They're all great seats.
they're all great seats, and it's right off the campus of the JUCO over there in Bloomington.
How did
right off
this
51.
kid do?
He ended up, I believe, I didn't get his stats over the weekend, but he was leading the league in wins and saves. So with an additional win, I'm pretty sure he finished top of class with maybe 3 wins and 2 saves. So for a guy who's a relief pitcher, that's pretty good record.
Right-hander?
Right-hander.
Yeah, okay.
Right-hander.
Wow.
Grew up, played in Los Angeles, California, moved to, came out and played a semester at Spoon River, and then transferred back over to Lincoln Land College to play in the Merchants League, but literally came back to play for Mike Olson,
Really?
which
Wow.
tells you a lot
That
about
says a lot.
Coach Olson.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's cool.
So Peoria Merchants, congratulations, Michael and team, and we look forward to another great season next year.
Yeah, Spoon River's junior college has had an excellent reputation for a number of years, and you probably know Andy Williams sang a song about it. Spoon River.
Roger, that was Moon River. No, it was
No, the original version was Spoon River,
No, it wasn't.
and
No.
his wife
That's a lie.
and
Roger's-
girlfriend from
Roger's lying to
France
you. No,
urged him to change it to Moon
That's-
River,
that's not
and
true.
the rest is history.
That's
Well, I'll tell you a little bit of history about Spoon River College, and Roger knows this, but I'll remind him. Spoon River College was founded by my father-in-law, Dr. Willison Taylor, a
Really?
physician in Canton, Illinois, very big on education. Lobbied the General Assembly in Springfield to establish a junior college. It was then called Canton Community College.
Yes.
Ray LaHood attended the first year of
Really?
community college. I should have talked about that
yeah,
while he was here.
Yeah.
And Taylor Hall, still on the campus of Spoon River College today, is named after Dr. Willison Taylor, my wife's father.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that's very interesting. I haven't
And my
heard that.
mother-in-law, until her passing, served on the board of trustees for probably 20 years. And there was a big move, 15 years ago, to move Spoon to Macomb and have it become affiliated with Western Illinois University, where Dr. Taylor was also the campus physician and a professor of medicine. And she fought to keep the campus in Canton and work with the General Assembly, as her late husband did, to rejuvenate the campus and put in a multi-purpose facility and upgrade the baseball field so that they could attract more folks and keep the junior college in Canton. So there's a little bit of
Wow.
Canton,
family.
Spoon River
Yes,
history.
since you know so much about the Spoon River, did the name Bob or Robert Smolish ring a bell with you?
Smolish, very,
Yes,
very
Smolish. Yeah. He was a teacher there, and his wife Polly came to Methodist and was headed up as kind of activities director for the School of Nursing at Methodist Hospital. And so I got acquainted with Robert and Polly Smolish, wonderful people, and he was connected to the university. I just, I still believe that this song was written for Spoon River Junior College. You're not going to let that go, are you?
We're gonna beat this one.
I'll tell you what, though, this day in history, what happened about 100 years ago on this date in the history of the United States?
On this date today?
On this date,
100 years ago.
July 21st, 1925.
There was a big trial.
And it was the first trial broadcast on radio.
It was. It was the trial of evolution, was it not?
The Scopes trial?
Scopes Monkey
Scopes.
Trial.
Exactly right.
100 years ago today, just to tell you that we are still living in the past, broadcasting on the same airwaves that the Scopes Monkey Trial broadcast on.
Is that right?
Yeah, and it was phenomenal. I mean, one of the obviously the debate over evolution and Christianity in schools was the turning point in the case, but it was the first time that everybody across the nation with the repeater cells could listen to a trial, and that was the first dose of jurisprudence that most Americans had, because not everybody was recruited for jury duty.
Right. Wow.
And they're like, "What is this? This is a phenomenal thing." I mean, that's how. I forgot the attorney now. I just had a brain
Clarence?
fade.
I will tell you who were the two well-known attorneys. I think you mentioned one of them.
Clarence Darrow.
Clarence Darrow was one. Who was the other one? I believe he was a candidate for president at one time. He didn't make it. Had three names.
Huey, Dewey, and Louie.
William Jennings Bryan?
William Jennings Bryan.
Yeah, and that's how
They
his
were
name
the
was
Bowling
in
and curling.
two yeah.
Yeah. So I
And
didn't realize you had that on
he
your
waged
calendar.
war against. I did. That was going to be the question of the month and
Oh, wow.
the day.
Well, you could
And
just
that's why I had the answer when you said
You
what
skipped it,
happened.
John.
Well, Roger, you're giving it away here, bud. I wanted you to think you were smart.
Well, that'll never work. But he was Bryan was a one-time presidential candidate who waged war against the teaching of evolution in the public schools. Darrell was for it, and he was not allowed to put scientific experts on the stand. Darrell instead called Bryan as a witness and questioned him on the literal interpretation of the Bible's account of creation. Bryan, according to this, looked foolish as he finally admitted that a literal interpretation was not possible. As a highly publicized trial, the Scopes trial proceedings brought scientific evidence for evolution into the public eye and prompted a debate over the accuracy of evolution and the separation of church and state. So say the liberals that produced this calendar, and they are liberals.
So it was known as the trial of the century.
Trial of the century,
until
right.
what was the next trial of the century?
O.J. Simpson.
O.J. Simpson.
I was going to say the Lindbergh kidnapping, but that been.
No, that might have been the case, but it did the
Yeah, that
trial
wasn't.
Well, we all know he murdered the people and got away with it because the media and the jury didn't want to convict this great athlete of being the culprit of terrible murder.
Those 12 jurors didn't want to convict him.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, the media helped too.
if it doesn't fit, you must acquit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I miss our comedian friend who lost his job at Saturday Night Live because he would not let that drop.
Who was that?
Oh my gosh.
Oh, what was his name? These were coming up with all this
Give me
old
some
stuff. I can't
clues.
remember.
I know I'm showing my age here. I'm getting senile.
Well, we all go through that at one time or another. And while you think about that, let's bring in our pet tip of the day.
Tip is brought to you by Peoria Pet Crematory of Peoria and Lewiston, providing final care for family pets, large and small, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Their phone number is 713-1898. That's 713-1898. More information is available at peoriapetcrematory.com.
Pet lovers are dedicated to their animals, all species from horses to turtles, and of course, cats and dogs. If you are a pet lover, learn these little known, somewhat amazing facts about your pet. You can be your dog's doctor in a pinch. Some common drugs in your medicine cabinet can also ease Fido's minor ailments. Use common sense and read the caution labels. Minor temporary pain and soreness can be treated with aspirin. 80 milligrams or 1 baby aspirin for 50 to 100 pounds of animal weight would be safe. Aspirin is generally safe for dogs, but not all pain relievers. Do not give your pet Tylenol or acetaminophen. Allergies can be treated with Benadryl. 1 milligram per pound of animal weight 2 times daily should be a safe dose. Tummy upsets can be treated with Pepto-Bismol. You would give 1 teaspoon per 20 pounds of animal weight every 4 to 6 hours, up to 24 hours. Constipation is best treated with canned pumpkin, not pumpkin pie mix, just the canned pumpkin. Mix it with their dry food and they will think it's a treat. Approximately 2 tablespoons for 20 pounds of body weight. These few tips may help you avoid unnecessary trips to the vet and make your pet more comfortable through short-term ailments. As always, if what we try at home doesn't work or our pet seems to worsen, we should see our veterinarian as soon as possible. This whisker of information has been made possible by a grant from the Corporation for Public Broadcasting in partnership with Spot, Saving Pets One at a Time, and KSBR Studios. Produced by Joseph C. McGuire and theme music by Stuardo Glasser.
Today's pet tip has been brought to you by Peoria Pet Crematory of Peoria and Lewiston, providing final care for family pets, large and small, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Their phone number is 713-1898. That's 713-1898. More information is available at PeoriaPetCrematory.com.
Thank you, Louis Linder. Oh, he does such a good job on the pet tip of the day. It is 8:23, and speaking of guys who do a good job, Kyle Barnold is on the line. Mr. Weather, good morning, Kyle.
Good morning, Mr. From crispy, forecast, muggy morning.
Oh, boy.
Is it a weird color? Is it still a weird color out there?
Weird color? No, it's pretty gray. Lots of hues of gray, more gray, maybe some charcoal, these things, but
Did you see it earlier? I don't know. It was just a really
This morning, it was kind of a murky brown. Or,
no, kind of a reddish pink or something. I don't
It was
know.
almost pearlescent.
Pearlescent was good. It's not a question. It's a.
I'll continue, please. So what that's called is it's Rayleigh scattering. Have you heard of Rayleigh scattering?
Rayleigh scatterings.
No.
No.
Rayleigh scattering. Well, you learn something. Here we go.
Here we go.
Sunlight where it's after it's trying to molecule. Now the particles are totally replaced electronic color of blue. Longer wavelengths, which we see in the sunrise and sunset, give us the return of red or pink. So that is why you see pink in the sky, particularly at the time we're coming in, at sunrise, even though we had overcast clouds and there's no clear skies we found, you still saw that pink return from the sunlight as the sun rose this morning. We call it Rayleigh scattering.
Well, there you go. Well, thank you, because I thought I had entered a nuclear explosion or something, but because it was it was a really weird color that I don't recall ever seeing before, but I don't remember what I did yet.
Well, it was a weird color. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right about that.
Great.
Well, and when? Go ahead.
I think that was supposed to get the forecast clouds and store and mid-level for the surface. So that's why it looks ominous. It is nothing up for it. It's just Rayleigh scattering.
Okay.
All right. Well, when does this heat wave begin and when does it end?
Whereas for the heat, like extreme danger warning advisory, catastrophic phenomenon start midnight tonight. So it's really cloudy. Here in you, at the end of the south of that's pretty good about it. It's much really rain, not as much as I was hoping. Washington rolling out 1.67 inches of rain. I'm sure my friend in Fort County, Mr. Fisher, got far more in his return. But Fort did not. And it was very, very disappointing because we're going to enter that dry season for the next 5 days or so, with the next shot of rain not being until Friday. And the heat is usually also the regular weather pattern. So the north of it, and we'll be under shaky, high humidity, and even more depressing dew points. Dew points will be near 80, which is a very, very moisture apparent surface level reaching. And when it's that high, and there's really no trigger nearby, even thunderstorms really won't survive. So we're having a cap atmosphere, at least in the next 22 hours, not 90 hours in our future. And it's going to be humid, it's going to be muggy, it's going to be downright deceptive. I think you're probably going to feel that heat and right over the front. Inside the can, because if it's real hot, imagine having a little bit of the foot on you, especially with the heavy, heavy, muggy air, which will be quite apparent in the next 4 days.
This mugginess just drives me up a wall. It makes breathing sometimes difficult, particularly for older Americans. And best advice, I think, is stay inside unless you have to be outside.
Yeah, absolutely. So stay inside. If you have to come back, you 100 times outside, longer break inside, sleep, stay hydrated, your feel, the weight of the air literally on you, and especially with the high moisture rate and friggin' and we're looking at the models for the next 2 days. Oh, go on, okay. So what we can, Mr. Kelly, I'm sorry.
You just keep rolling along. Please keep rolling along.
Oh,
Yes. Mhm.
no, it's
Uh-huh.
Right. I think it's the forecasting sun. It's going to be the 90. Tomorrow with more sun. If that were the high right around 90, but it's going to feel like 102, 103. Wednesday is the most wicked of the days this week. Wednesday we're looking at highs in the mid 90s. It's going to be like 110. I'd be surprised to see one seafood on Wednesday, maybe number Thursday. Then we have a funnel bounce coming in on Friday. Thanks to God. Hopefully, it gives us some much needed rainfall and some storms, and at least a brief cool down period before we head into next week. Although next week is looking far more accommodating. A warm start, but a really cool finish, which is great because the same two runs is coming up on August 2nd for a lot of satellite runs. And the Memphis runners actually leave on the 29th, next Tuesday.
So Friday, so Friday and Saturday rain, pretty much.
Yeah, I think there's a really good chance, especially on Friday. Saturday, we might be on the backside to kind of tell us thunderstorms. But no, I think Friday is the best bet that we can see in shower thunderstorm activity.
Okay.
And hopefully, out because we did not get the returns I thought we would over this past weekend.
Now, what's the current? What's the current temperature? What's your car say?
That machine of real humidity, it probably feels more like, I don't know, 75, 76. And then we will see that later today.
All right. Thanks for the updated weather. Let's talk about the Taste of St. Mark's.
Oh, bless your heart. Yes, the Taste of St. Mark's, our annual event here at St. Mark's, which has had a lot of business to play with. Now, they couldn't keep it going. St. Mark's, Saturday, August 9th. It is from 5:30 to 2 p.m. We had a meeting about it yesterday, and I was pulling teeth and trying to get them to raise the price this year. And dang, boy, voted keep it the same. So $15 a person. If all you can eat, we'll have about 16 different food vendors. Lots of restaurants and local St. Mark's families. Most of them, so how it started was the restaurant owners had to attend St. Mark's. They had to go to St. Mark's school. The families had. Now you open it up to non-St. Mark's families for restaurants because we don't have the security anymore. And just put a lot of food. You want to bring money like for cash or Venmo, or card for Square, you can do that. But the only thing you pay, once you pay your $15, is for beverages. Different beers for a variety of prices. And then the 8th graders are going to do an ice cream Sunday stand. And that will be an additional cost because they're going to raise money for our 8th grade field or 8th grade trip in the spring. But yeah, we have live entertainment. We have a dessert dash. So it's like a dessert raffle. You put in tickets and they pull desserts. Otherwise, you'll get your dessert Sunday stand. Lots of different vendors here. So, a couple others. Get a rescue. As well. So lots of vendors, lots of great time. 2 live bands on the stage. It's a really fun time. $15 a person. We still 6 for 20 last year, 6 for 20 this year. And I think that people like You got McDonald's for $6 a person.
Is that on the
Target board.
is that on the St. Mark's campus?
Thank you so much for Mr. Fisher. Yes, it's a sacred school on the Blacktop Hill Primary School. Of course, we'd love to come to Mass at 4:30. But if you can't make it to Mass, please come to the Taste of St. Mark's. Thank you. And we'll find you more members. We have a couple of families at St. Mark's. They make phenomenal street tacos. And those are usually the first ones to sell out. Because they only bring 20 pounds of meat, and by about 8 o'clock, street those are sold out. But they're authentic. So you warned, if you don't want spicy, you have to tell them you do not want spicy, because their normal is spicy. So we found out in years past, a lot of people do not realize how spicy authentic Mexican food is.
Simple little Johnny figured that out.
So it's been a few years since I carried papers over there in the St. Mark's district. Do they still have the cylindrical fire escape back there on the back of the school that comes down onto the patio?
Actually, it's for started approved with insurance. I didn't with slide on the face of St. Mark's. It goes out it like a slide, which is quite entertaining when you get it. They go down. But pressure years, which is why we have insurance and the right, and so we do. But yeah, that's the slide and that. We should love it. It's a great time, and then we have activities on the ground for kids. But it's just a great time. Thank you so much, Roger, for the opportunity to talk about it, promote it. But Saturday, August 9th, so 2 weeks,
It's-
5:30 to 10 at St. Mark's School.
Now, let's clarify something. You don't have to be Catholic to go to this. I know you mentioned that we are well, as a Methodist, I don't go to Mass, but we are welcome, are we not?
We're praying for you, Roger.
Roger, you could go. You can attend the service. You don't have to. It doesn't make you a Catholic by going.
Exactly. It's about ranting about it, but I wanted to put for 50 a family because the time is what you pay when you go out to the restaurant. Oh, it's 40 a family. So you bring 2 people, family, with some more money, and even tons of food.
And just to show you how big, just to show you how large the Catholic tent is, we only charge the heathens $15 as well, Roger.
right.
So you're
That's
welcome
right.
to come. Just pay $15.
There's no upcharge for the.
And here's an idea for you to consider, because I've heard a lot about good things about the Taste of St. Mark's. Have you considered increasing the price to $20?
Oh my God!
Oh my gosh!
The last 2 years, he has paid just a sweet women, and then more the 100 trips, and then like the cost of books and the cost of uniforms, and they're paying their and school supplies, and men's club is like, no, what we pay for this, from these vendors, the food cost is now, the alcohol. I mean, I remember when we used to get soda for free, and I was like, we're losing money hand over fist. We at least charge $1. Okay, we'll charge $1, but nothing more. They just for soda. No, just $1. We just clear.
But you can pay more, right? I mean, you'll take donations.
We do take donations because we have a liquor license. You pay the set price when it comes to beer and alcohol. We don't do suggested donation anymore. They got more on that.
Yeah, I still think you should charge $50 for families. I think that would be more reasonable.
Roger will sponsor the first 10 families. How about that?
No.
As long as it's not Catholic. If they're
Like Lutherans know how to cook. I mean, come on.
Oh, come on.
Why? We should bring it, speakers, because it does get, hot out. But then you'll see a lot of grills out on the blacktop. Like these times another vendor we have there.
Great.
They make these amazing pulled pork sliders, and
And they have bratwurst and big dogs. Phenomenal food. Phenomenal.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'll tell you what. When I come, I'm going to give $15 as you are charging, and $5 for a tip,
There you go.
so that and it'll be in your memory.
Because you're gonna die between
Well, the memory of your pushing for $20. I'm going to get 15. I said, this is honor. I'll get rid of the word memory. In honor of Kyle Varno believes it should be $20.
Troy used to say, I'm giving you $20. Because I gave this guy on the Roger and Fun show, ranting and raving, I was trying to do so. And he's making a lot of sense. So I've been thinking, we give him the $20. So he satisfied instead of 15.
Yeah.
Well, then you got the change and stuff. Yeah, that's
Yeah, I think you're right. Now, if you think I'm going to do that, I'll sell you the McClub's fridge. But I like your ranting and raving. You know, that's been 2 days in a row now.
Yeah.
So are you on something or are you in for something?
No. Things like the little it's complex of its supply costs and the uniform costs. But when you look at a fundraiser, for God's sake, this isn't a charity case. $20 a person is appropriate. $50 a family, I'm content with.
All right. We got to go where the news headlines. Our lead story will be official at St. Mark's Court rants about $15 being too low for a taste of St. Mark's. It's I'm going to refer to you as the Chinese spokesman on too low. Well, that too. That's his twin brother. Have a great day. Stay cool.
Thank you. Hey, get ready for the pretty cool. We will talk to you later this week.
thanks,
You got
Kyle.
it. All right, thanks. Kyle Arnold, always a bundle of energy and great joy and consternation. And constipated. We check in with the news this morning, brought to you by Spoon River Home Health, bridging the gap in healthcare since 1993. Spoon River Home Health, caring for people of all ages in their homes where recovery and healing faster and more comfortable. Learn more from the folks at Spoon River Home Health Services at 309-245-0723.
A rash of shootings in Peoria over the weekend. One of those sent a 24-year-old man by car to a local hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. He reportedly was wounded near the intersection of Sterling and Forest Hill. Gunplay early Saturday resulted in a woman taking bullets to both feet in the area of Star and Westmoreland. A few hours later, another 24-year-old shooting victim arrived at the emergency room of OSF St. Francis Medical Center with a gunshot wound to the arm. No arrests have been made. Peoria Proud held its River City Pride Festival Saturday morning. Despite some rain, the festival went on as scheduled at the riverfront, celebrating the city's LGBTQ community. The 76th Annual Heart of Illinois Fair also went on, though some who attended thought the event should have been canceled. No carnival and no people. The grounds at Expo Gardens were empty. The Heart of Illinois Fair is now just a memory of what was. The folks in Chillicothe had a good time last week as they celebrated their Sweet Corn Festival. Unlike the Peoria Fair, lots of people enjoyed sweet corn and other good food. Some good news on the national scene as officials in Kerrville, Texas, site of the deadly flood, report only 3 people remain missing. At one time, 160 were counted as missing from Kerr County alone. Sadly, 135 lost their lives. The Director of Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, has released some 100 pages of documents she says reveal secret plans by President Obama and members of his intelligence agencies to undermine the presidency of Donald Trump during the early days of his first term. The former Democrat says the evidence is overwhelming and is nothing short of historic. Gabbard said Obama engaged in a conspiracy days before he was to leave office in what was termed Russian collusion. After 4 years of investigation, it's now known as the Russian hoax. An off-duty officer with the U.S. Customs and Border Protection Agency was shot in the face by an illegal immigrant during an attempted armed robbery in New York City. Though wounded, the 42-year-old officer shot his attacker, who was arrested. Court documents show the criminal immigrant had been released 4 times by judges despite deportation orders. The controversial mayor of Los Angeles, Karen Bass, says the city will be unable to rebuild after the wildfires she failed to prevent without immigrants. Bass said her city is a city of immigrants, and without them, work will be difficult. Those are the headlines, Roger.
Thank you kindly. And let's check out weather forecast after we heard from Kyle, brought to you by Bob Manning, Senior Vice President, Financial Advisor with the Grandview Capital Group at Morgan Stanley, right here in Peoria. For investment needs, think about and consider Bob Manning. You can reach him at 309-671-4653. Morgan Stanley Smith Barney, LLC, member SIPC.
Extreme heat watch from midnight tonight until 7 p.m. on Thursday. So, what a crummy week. It'll be partly sunny today. Looks like
Well, life is what you make it. I mean, you know, the weather can be crummy, but that doesn't mean the day has to be
I'm
crummy.
going to be fine.
I
have
think
an
you
air
will be
conditioner.
fine.
It's but don't outside will.
Why don't you just hypnotize yourself into thinking it's going to be a
You
nice
can't.
day?
Not when it's that hot.
Have you ever looked in the mirror? And John, do you know he's a professional hypnotist?
He's a
Well,
hypnocomet,
Is that what he is? Okay.
hypnohumorist or
No
something.
humorist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He can look at you and make you laugh.
I can't.
And oftentimes it
Oftentimes
entails
people look at me and laugh.
removing his clothes, but
Yeah.
but he's always said it's okay if you laugh, you just can't point.
Yeah. I am sorry I opened Pandora's box.
You started it.
Yep,
I know. Yeah, I'm guilty. It says charge.
Oh, it's going to be in the 90s. It's going to
Yeah.
feel like 100 and some degrees. It's really going to be terrible. Right now it's 71, but it feels like 75, 76. Who cares? It's just going to be a rotten week.
Everybody feels different. Some
Who likes
people can
this?
have
Nobody likes this.
people my age can't handle the heat.
Okay,
But
so you don't
people,
like it.
no, I don't. But tell that to a 15-year-old kid who's riding a bicycle around.
No, he's not going to like
like-
this. There's no way.
There's no 15-year-old kids riding their bikes around all the way.
Well,
That's it.
They're
They're
right.
playing their video games in the basement where it's cold.
But please work with me, people. Just.
I know you're just trying to make a
What
bright,
will be.
sunshiny,
Now, I
happy
have
time.
a
And I'm
question for
Mr.
you.
Doom and Gloom. I'm
Is
sorry.
the national media making too much of that deal where that CEO of the company was
with the
playing
gal?
around with his HR director
That
you
poor
know-
guy. I feel very sorry for the wife.
for the wife and the kids?
But you know how stupid
Funny.
that guy going out to
Well,
public with a girlfriend and
but-
Loser.
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 Yeah, that's not the smartest thing.
His
ever
wife
did.
was gorgeous, and those
She's
kids.
good-looking
I mean,
gal.
what the hell?
You have her number?
She's getting on the Forbes list now, though. I guess so. Good for her there. She's going to get half of what he had, which
Well,
is
they-
what, $1 billion or
Well,
something.
you can't say the marriage is over. Did she
Yeah, you
say?
can.
Oh, she can. I think she already did.
Did she say that?
Yeah, she said. Yeah,
Oh, really?
he's history.
Because he embarrassed her and embarrassed her family, so she will ride high.
You don't know the story. She might have something on the side too. You just don't know. I mean, I'm not.
She has Raul.
Not on the kiss cam because she was there with 3 kids, but still.
Yeah.
But you're right. It usually is the woman that causes these things.
Wait, it is not.
Wait, that's what you meant to say, right, Terry?
No, honey, I didn't say that. If you're listening,
Guys.
I was thinking for Phil when we knew him. He's a
No,
big-
it was
he's a
John
big
Sharoon said that. Okay, I didn't.
I was merely reading your mind,
Yes. Yeah.
hypnohumorist.
That reminds me
Oh,
of the
my.
story about the woman who called police and said there's a guy walking around next door naked. I want you to come over and put an end to it. The officer came over and he said, well, where is he? Where do you see him? She said, look out that window. He went over and he looked down. He said, "I don't see anything." She said, "You have to get on a chair." That's funny. Obviously, you guys didn't put that.
True story? True
Yeah,
story. True story.
no, not a true shot. I just feel that everybody on Fox was playing that. You know, they have a problem.
What's all of
One show ends, the next show comes on, and they cover the same subjects. And this poor, and the fans around him were raising their hands and cheering. Was it because they knew what was going on, or because they were on camera too?
Yeah, I don't
You know what I find amazing out of this whole thing is that this poor guy's wife had to find out he was a Coldplay fan by this video.
And she,
I mean, they got one song.
I think so. They're a one-hit wonder. I think.
That.
Yeah.
so
you
things got hot for her over.
Yeah, it was.
But if they'd have just played it off, it would have been
He could have
just
pretended like that,
danced like
Oh,
they're
yeah,
supposed to be there,
danced
and
or,
the camera would have moved on to somebody
or
else.
gave her a Heimlich maneuver. You know, just kind of tugged
Yeah,
on
like,
her a
oh,
little
it's
bit.
in
or something.
Australia with a hot
As
dog.
soon as they saw it, they knew the
Something's
gig
up.
the gig was
Well,
up.
I think their reaction was what really blew
Well,
it
and the
big.
fact that Coldplay's lead singer, Chris Martin, really called him out on him. I mean, he,
Either they're having an affair, Sean. I'm going with C.
So years
He
ago,
didn't help it matters, did he?
No.
years ago at a Bradley game, Roger, you may recall, I always had seats down by the floor for 15 years, and I took my mother-in-law because she loved basketball, and for whatever reason the kids couldn't go. And so we're sitting down there, and the camera panned over to me, and it's a kiss cam, right? And I was like, "Come here, Betty, give me a kiss." And she said, "No." And the camera stayed on me, and I leaned over to give her a peck on the cheek, and she, boom,
She smacked it.
I mean, very firm love pat on my cheek. Get away! And the place erupted.
Oh, sure.
I mean, 6,000 people watched my mother-in-law give me a gentle slap on the face, and I'm like, for God's sake, Betty,
I do.
kiss cam. And she was like 90 years old. Okay, 82. Sorry, Karen.
Oh my.
I do remember that. I actually remember hearing people talk about that.
and Macron and his wife landed in the plane, and you just see he's there in the doorway, and you see that hand come out and slap his face.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Says
yeah. A
back.
couple weeks ago. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, right.
And he's the
Okay.
president of France, or
Yeah.
was.
Yeah.
I think he still is.
Did Coldplay have a big hit? Did you say?
I don't.
They had one hit,
What
and
was
and
their-
you'll recognize it if you go onto
I don't know
Coldplay's
what their
greatest
hit
hits. It's called
was.
"Livin' La Vida" or something. And the crazy thing
Oh,
is,
that was theirs. Yeah.
a couple of friends of mine just went to see them in Las Vegas, not at the Sphere, but at the football
Were
stadium.
they married? Or were these two friends?
It was women. It was a girls'
Oh,
trip out there,
okay.
and I was like, "Really, you're going to see Coldplay?" And she, "Oh, I love Coldplay." And I'm like, "But they only have one hit." And she goes, "Oh no, it's just it's." And she came back and she goes, "Yeah, it's really just one hit,
The one hit.
Livin' La Vida or something like that."
Oh, I know that song. I didn't like it.
You'll recognize it if you hear it.
Yeah.
I was trying to find Coldplay, but they've got everything except the song. So I don't know
That's
what. It seems like we played something by Coldplay at one time. Do you remember what it was?
No.
You're not thinking of Chainsmokers, are you? I think it was Chainsmokers.
I can play it, Roger, but it'll come over my phone here. I don't know
Yeah.
that I can plug into it, but
Oh, they won't play it on.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
What's the
that's
name of that? What's the name
Viva
of
La
it?
Vida.
Viva la vida.
Viva La Vida.
Right where your arrow is.
You won't hear it if you're
Where?
on YouTube.
No, up. There.
That's the one.
Yep.
Okay.
And that's how old? That was a while ago.
Yeah.
Is that what year that was?
There we go. Thank you. Was that their big?
Is it?
Did they come to Peoria?
Rise when I gave the word down in
Yeah, KZ93.
sweet the streets I used to own.
Was this song that they were playing when the camera went on The CEO
don't know.
and his
I don't-
HR
No, they
representative.
were playing like oh, that whatever hit it was, but it was enough for the kiss cam.
Something about playing around or something. Something about copping or something.
How to turn a teardrop into a waterfall.
What was the other song?
How to screw up your life. Huh?
She got the
How to
ring.
take
and
half your money and throw it away.
I gave her the ring and she gave me the finger.
The finger, yeah. That was
The house and I got the shaft.
yeah.
Did a good one.
Yeah. Famous sayings on.
And he quit his job. He
They fired him.
well, yeah, I guess.
You've seen that he has resigned, and the board agreed. That was the board saying, "I think you need to go."
And as the HR director, I mean, she'd been there for what, like 8 months?
Yeah,
And she was a looker, right? I mean,
she was a bad looker.
yeah, so, but you kind of wonder.
Not as good as his wife.
That's just,
Did they show the picture of the wife?
Yeah.
And the 3 kids. She had a post on social media with her and the
She
kids.
did.
Yeah, and then
Were there any famous quotes from her?
I know she
Get the hell out. I think it was. What's it?
cha-ching.
Yeah, be on Forbes list next year because
I mean, but to be publicly humiliated like that
yeah, that's
in front of
fun.
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
She'll get paid for it though.
yeah, but it's not all about money. They got kids. They're gonna
Yeah,
have
I know.
problems.
I'll be around a long time.
She probably will sell the house and leave town, and maybe assume a new identity or.
But one of the
whatever.
funniest comebacks was Coldplay hasn't had a single in 10 years, and they made 4 that night.
You're probably right about that, John. At any rate, weather-wise, we're in for some hot weather.
Terribly hot, sticky.
Yeah.
I guess we call it sticky and muggy, is what humidity. It's only going to be in the 80s today, but it's going to feel like it's in the 90s because of all the humidity. So that's all right.
But like Kyle said, we had flash floods in Cuba last week.
Oh, you
You
did?
did.
Yeah, I mean, it came quick and long, and I can always tell because we have this little gully cut along the side of our driveway, and the leaves and rocks accumulate at the bottom down by the lake, and it took me 6 gator beds
Oh,
of
wow.
loads of leaves to clean out behind my shed down there
Oh,
because
wow.
they all washed down, and that only happens when you get flash floods and it washes.
Now you
up.
call it in Cuba, you call it a gully? Is there a
Gully
ditch,
washer.
or it's a gully? That's what
It's a gully washer,
it's a gully washer.
Yeah.
Okay.
ditch witch.
Is it something you can fish in?
Oh yeah, I mean it dumps into the lake, and it's a 200-acre lake.
Oh, you're on a lake.
Yeah, Lake
Mm.
Weematuck.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Good
Do
fishing.
you do a lot of fishing?
I don't.
Yeah, you don't seem like you're the fishing type.
When Jack was young, we'd get up every day and go down for
Sure.
a couple hours and fish on the dock. But I cruise around with my dogs on the pontoon, mow the grass, fix the neighbors' docks, that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
Cool.
I mean, I have plenty of fishing stuff. I just only fish when people come out and want to fish.
Retirement guy stuff.
Yeah.
I'll do that.
What do you use to catch bass?
You know, there's a
Crappie.
lot of
Well, yeah.
lot of cat, a lot of carp. We have
Carp?
oh yeah,
Well, not the flying.
Oh, man.
Not the flying.
none of the Asian carps. Bass, bluegill, crappie. We've got some northern.
Really?
We stock
Oh,
the
really?
lake.
You do.
And so
How about walleye? Are you able to stock walleye?
So they put some walleye and some northern in, and we asked the guys to keep them back so they can kind of grow and
Right.
populate.
Yeah.
But it used to be some of the best fishing in Central Illinois. And
Right.
then-
And like, what happened?
well, the local high school decided to have a fishing club so you can letter in fishing now, bass fishing.
That's true.
And instead of using Canton Lake, somebody let them on Weematuck, and so they invite 12 other high schools to come out and fish the tournaments.
Oh, they fished it
That was
out.
another 70 kids that realized, well, it's pretty good fishing at Weematuck, and they fished us out.
No kid.
And and so I used to know every boat on the lake, and during the week it's me and 3 other people. Literally, it's a private lake. And then on the weekend you'll get maybe 10 boats out there, but it's not like Oak Run or even the river or anything. It's just very secluded, and so you start seeing all these bass boats with 150 horsepower. Our lake limit is 125,
Mm.
but these kids would pull up in their dad's bass boat and they'd fish all the docks and they'd zip around, and they weren't returning their. We always caught maybe a
Throw,
little bit
throw 'em
deep,
back
threw 'em
in.
back.
Catch
Yeah,
release.
But
that's
the-
how I fish.
So if you take all the 4 and 5 pound bass, you don't get 6 and 7
Yeah,
pound bass.
you're right.
And a 4 pound bass in Central Illinois.
Did you put an end to it?
They did.
Yeah.
So there's not. I mean, they can't. I think Canton High School still comes out and fishes in Lewistown, but nobody catches anything because there's anything left.
Hmm.
Oh, that's a shame. That's just too bad.
They killed it. Killed the goose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
No fishing at Weematut. There's no fish in that lake.
No fish there.
Don't come out.
Stay the heck away.
well, we killed 3 hours. Very well.
How do we do it?
Well, it's not easy.
Everyone's still awake.
Yeah. John, thanks for coming in for John Meisinger.
Nice to be here.
Nice seeing
Thanks for
you,
having
John.
me.
You bet.
Good to see Terry and Terry.
Nice seeing you again.
And do you have a tennis court on your property in Cuba?
Do not.
I don't know why. I thought you might because you have a family of.
It'd be pickleball.
In fact, my wife is on her way to River City as we speak for her Monday morning tennis routine.
Yeah.
Oh, she's not a pickleballer? You haven't got into the retirement pickleball thing yet?
You know, I played a couple of times, and Karen tried, but it messed up her tennis game. She still plays competitive tennis.
Oh,
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
pickleball is the anathema to
right.
Yeah.
But Karen plays 3 or 4 days a week.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Wow, good for her.
Do you ever play one-on-one?
No, she retired me right after we got.
Say, I can't beat you. You're too good.
No, it was more like I couldn't really. I mean, I had no idea how small a tennis court is. You know, I grew up playing softball and golf and
Yeah.
baseball, distance and strength. And I'm like, I was hitting it over the fence, not over the net, over the fence. I'm like, this
Court is too small. Can we play in the adult court?
She's like, you just have to stop playing tennis or we're not going to be married very long.
All right, we're out of here. Have a great day. Remember, God loves you, and so do we. And thanks for being a part of our program on WAZU FM 90.7 and on YouTube. Have a great day, everybody. God loves you, and so do we.
Catholics unite.